The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your SuperChats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets are now 3-12, and there is a harsh reality that we are facing as fans when it comes to this head coach. We'll talk with Robby Sabo about that and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Time to lose some games, bitches. You guys should be pros at this. They don't give out trophies for 4 or 5 wins.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go. Here on a Monday, we are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Many of you are expecting Joe Beningo to join us, as he always does after a Jets game. I got a text from Joe that he is sick. He is under the weather. He, in part, also, in typical Joe B fashion, blamed the Jets for his illness. So we're going to work on rescheduling Joe for later this week. So instead, we got our guy who normally joins us on Tuesday. It's our man, Robby Sabo, the founder of Jets X Factor, who joins us now. Mr. Sabo, I appreciate you hopping on because I'm doing radio today from 1 to 3, filling in for Michael Kay. And tomorrow, I'm hosting with Bart Scott from 10 to 2. So we were going to have to push you to a different time slot anyway this week. So it all worked out, and I'm glad you're on the show.
Worked out. Dude, I'm with the fans. I want to see Joe B explode this morning. It's like, for some fans, I get it. It's the only beacon of ray of sunshine, and in other words, terrible season. So fans, I'm with you. It's brutal. It's brutal not to see Joe B. But yeah, sick, that can mean a number of different things. No question.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all just sick of the season, right? Let's just start there. I mean, again, I understand that the Jets were a 6.5 point underdog by the time this line closed yesterday for the game. It's one thing to lose, Robby, and big picture, I am fully on board that it is better for the New York Jets to lose these final games than it is to win. But it is alarming when you're being embarrassed the way they have. They've now lost 5 of their last 6. They're 3-12. They play the Patriots this upcoming week. They have no chance in that game. They're 12.5 point underdogs. They have no chance against the Bills to end the year. So the Jets are going to finish 3-14. And by Jets standards, as bad as this franchise has been, we're talking about only the 3rd time in franchise history they'd lose 14 games or more in a season. And the coaches for those 2 other teams, Kotitie and Gase. So while the Jets are awful, this is historically awful. And again, as we sit here right now, and we could talk about the draft pick situation and getting the quarterback and the free agent cap space, all that, what is really good about this team that should give you some hope? Like, again, this head coach sold us a complete bill of goods and has completely moved the goalposts for what the season was supposed to be. And as we sit here right now, I get it. Losing is better, but they're being embarrassed. It's not improving. And I just have major doubts about the direction of this franchise, regardless where they end up picking in the draft and regardless how much cap space they have.
You're spot on. And let's start here. It's no secret, who the candidates I wanted this past spring in terms of a media guy from afar. And, even some of the Jets organization knew it. Like, it's no secrets. And as much as I love Glenn as a player and as a coach, it's a very specific coach that I think fits 20 years ago. I am the most boring guest on Asman. I have to be, because I keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, that the sport is drastically different. You cannot keep harping on field position and penalties. Jacksonville leads the league in penalty yards. They're a good team. You can't keep harping on these old school principles that don't move the needle. And in these pressers, that's all I keep hearing. It's about strategy. It's about deception. It's about tactics. As Brady said on the Saturday night broadcast with Chicago, That's what drives the needle, and we don't see it. I think we rack our brains too much. I think Jets fans, and I get it, it's hard to identify great coaching. But the way I boil it down is great coaching is obvious. It smacks you in the face. And for the folks that keep saying you got to give him his players, you got to give him his players. Sure, give him his players. That's great. But no, for great coaching to shine through, he doesn't need his players. It should be obvious. Like Banjo. How is Banjo, if they have no talent, and listen, I don't think the roster's talented, but if they are so bereft in talent, how is Banjo doing it with special teams? Isn't that the bottom third of the roster? So we have to stop making excuses. I'm sure Glenn is not making excuses in the mirror when he looks at it. It has been awful. And the Jets need to recognize what brand of football is being played today, period.
It just feels like when we talk about the Jets, they are not doing things that like a modern NFL team does. You watch
100%.
other teams around the league, and it feels like, again, we are so far behind the 8 ball schematically. Like modern NFL success, as you have talked about on this show, and I really agree with you, it's driven by strategy, scheme, game planning, especially on offense. Good teams win because of X's and O's. We're going to play hard, rah-rah guy. Again, like Aaron Glenn, he wakes up every day, Robbie. He goes to the facility. He gets his hug from Woody. As the owner said, he gives him a hug every day. And then exactly what happens? Like, what is Aaron Glenn doing during the week to improve the football team? Because he doesn't call plays on either side of the ball. He has already fired his defensive coordinator that he handpicked and then said they've been running his scheme all year. So, again, I just would like to know, what exactly does Aaron Glenn do when he's inside the Jet facility? Because we're not seeing this improvement that he said we would see throughout the year. First, he said they were going to win. The guys were going to be coached up. And then when they started 0-7, he talked about how big ships take a while to turn and instant coffee, and you'll see the improvement as the year goes on. And let's objectively look at it. The New York Jets, over their last now 3 games, have been outscored 111-36. We understand that losing is better, but again, they're not trying to lose on purpose. These guys are going out there trying to win, and they're this bad. And the other thing that I think should just be alarming is he is a defensive coach. Wilkes is gone. They just allowed a rookie quarterback to put up 29 points on them. And while the talent is not great in some areas, there's still a lot of guys on this team that we know have been good players in the league before. And again, only Jawan Briggs have we seen real improvement from a coaching standpoint. Glenn's biggest problem is he sold us on player development, and there's been one player on the entire roster that has definitively developed in a positive light. What does he do all week? If he doesn't call plays, if he's not involved on offense, what does he actually do as a head coach? That's the big question I don't know the answer to. Feels like nothing, but
yeah.
Right?
See, here's the thing, and people get it twisted sometimes because we live in this first take world. You know, it started out as cold pizza back in the day with Skip Bayless, and you know they started it, and social media got it to this point where you have to be one side or the other. You have to be black or you have to be white. You have to be tall or short. When Glenn talks about building the foundation and all those old school principles, physicality, blah blah blah, he's not wrong. Like there's a place for that in football. He's right technically. The problem is that doesn't move the needle most in today's league. What moves the needle are what the nerds are doing. Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, McVay. Okay, that's what's moving the needle, and everything else is complementary on top of that. So I think again, it's that realization for the fans that go back and forth between talent and coaching. Again, no one's saying that this is a loaded roster talent-wise. It's not. But what's more likely to happen? The roster changes, 33% each year, at least usually. Aren't they bound to just run into a lucky season at one point over these last 15 years in terms of a roster combination? And if that hasn't happened, doesn't that tell you that maybe the coaching, the 2 or 3 coaches they have had, it's more likely that they're not holding their end of the bargain up as opposed to being talent? So let's play the odds and think of it that way. I just really think it's the Jets organization not moving into modern football. And we saw it with the last years of Rex. Rex struggled. He was great in 2009, 2010 with a loaded team. His message, his old school core principles, physicality, field position worked. But as the league started changing, they started failing more and more and more and more. And here we are today. And they just keep hiring the same type of coach. Woody, even Glenn. Glenn could change. He could look. I heard Samini on ESPN with you yesterday. He had a great point. He said Glenn's going to have to go into this offseason, really take stock of himself, look in the mirror. Can he do that? We'll see. There are some signs that he is coachable, self-coachable. That's up to him. But Jets as a whole, they have to move into this era of football. I think it just starts there. And they won't be able to do anything until that happens.
I'm with you, man. And because, again, the Jets are not losing because of effort or even the penalties, right? Glenn harped on that yesterday, which, by the way, I bring up the penalties.
Good teams lead the world in penalties frequently these days.
And it's one of the things that he said he'd clean up, by the way, which hasn't happened. So that's the reason why I bring it up. But the penalties is not like the biggest issue here, right? Again, the biggest issue is they are diagnosing the wrong problems, right? The Jets are losing because the coaching staff is continuously out-schemed and out-thought. I get it. You're outmanned from a roster standpoint against most of the teams that you're playing this year when your quarterback situation is as bad as it is. But should the Saints really be 23 points better than you? Like, the Jets have a negative 75 point differential over their last 3 games. That's the 10th worst over a 3-game span in Jets history. It's the worst since 2002. Before that, worst since the 1970s. Even the Gase 2020 team, which was the worst team I've seen in my lifetime rooting for the Jets, did not have a 3-game span that ranks among the top 30 worst in this category. We are talking about a historically bad team now, people. It should not look like this. This is not normal. And the idea that it's just going to magically turn around because Aaron Glenn is going to get a second year, I mean, sure, but that's banking on an outlier. Again, what we're seeing is a team that is behind modern times. They don't do anything right. It's mind-boggling to me that there's people still trying to defend this. This is not normal what we're watching here. They will finish the season ranked in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in yards for a 10th year in a row. And this is what happens when you continue to hire defensive first head coaches with no experience and expecting a different result. It's the very definition of insanity. They have now set a new NFL record with 15 consecutive games without an interception. And their head coach was a Pro Bowl defensive back. It doesn't make any sense what's happening here.
It doesn't. And, I'm looking at the numbers. Jacksonville's second in penalties per game, 7.9. Denver's tied with them. Denver, I don't know if they're still the 1 seed after that loss, but still. Chicago is in the top 7. This league, I felt like, fans complain about play calling a lot. And, old Hackett in the early 2000s was villain number 1. I remember those teams really. I was in college. I remember those teams really well. And I would always make the statement that play calling is overrated. And I felt that way. And I still feel that was correct. It isn't anymore today. The nerds have won and accept it. Please. The nerds have freaking won. Accept it. Physicality is gone. Physicality is still in football, but you know what I'm saying? It was so depleted compared to where it used to be. So what does that mean? It's because the rules, concussions and, no contact on the outside with the DBs. But what does that mean? Speed becomes the top element. What does that mean? Offensive play callers start drooling and foaming at the mouth because they know they could predict certain things on the field much more easily. When you take physicality out, the randomness of each play decreases. And when speed is the element that matters most, you could move chess pieces around the board. And that's what's happening around the league. So the mic in the helmet coming from the offensive guy is so critical. And I mean, look at Dart. Something to monitor. Dart without Dayball is something interesting there, but we'll see. And if the head coach isn't that mic, that offensive mic in the quarterback's helmet, who's that nerd, who's bad at parties, but knows what he's doing in modern football, then everything has to be perfect. Your DC, your OC better be a stud. He better be a stud. Vrabel, CEO with McDaniels. Tomlin has Arthur Smith and Rodgers. So many examples. And Glenn's they're just not getting it done. I mean, going with a defensive guy, a CEO type, decreases your odds of success. And you just have to understand that.
It's tough to stomach, man. It just, it really is. Let's do something great for the Asmaniac community. You guys continue to support the show, and I'm truly grateful for that. Hit the like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. We're talking with Robby Sabo. We'll get some calls during this. Again, if you were expecting Beningo, he is out sick today. We're going to work on rescheduling Joe because he's feeling a little under the weather here. So we will get to Joe B coming up hopefully later this week. But we got Robby Sabo, who normally joins us on Tuesdays, checking in with us. Robby does a weekly podcast with Jets legend Wayne Chrebet. So in honor of that, let's give away a signed Wayne Chrebet helmet on the show today. Gift the membership or send in a $5 super chat or a higher to qualify. We'll give you a chance to win it on this show and this afternoon's second stream. So 2 chances to win today. And then if you don't win, weekly raffle prizes featuring a signed Nick Mangold football, signed New York Sack Exchange football, and a signed jersey by Vinny Testaverde. So multiple chances to win signed Jets memorabilia on the program this week. Big shout out to this community for continuing to support the show. I mean, Robby, you look at this game yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And it's 9-6 at the half. And then Aaron Glenn says in his post game that, well, we knew we had to get them early because you look at the Saints and they got this explosive offense and they're a second half team. And it's comments like that that just make me cringe. The mighty 4-10 New Orleans Saints, their second half offense is so explosive that you're basically acknowledging if we didn't get them in the first half early, we were going to be in some trouble. It's just, I don't think this head coach has any feel for the game. And I get it. He's starting Brady Cook at quarterback,
right.
But look what we're watching. Look what your eyes are telling you. Should the Jets be 23 points worse than the Saints? There's just so many examples that we've seen these last 3 weeks in particular that just have me alarmed regardless where they end up in the draft and the cap space. And we'll get to that, I promise, Jet fans. But I just think we need to see what's happening here, that this is not normal for a first-year head coach to already have these moments, these stats that we could talk about that bring up the worst seasons in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, and listen, don't get it twisted. No one's asking for wins with this talent or this roster.
Competency, improvement, progress, development.
We're asking for something intriguing, in which what I said before, great coaching is obvious, where it just slaps you in the face and you go, yeah, they lost, but I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a plan. That was a hell of a thought going into this game. So if I were AG after that game yesterday, and I still haven't seen the tape, so I don't know what was happening downfield, but my first thoughts would not be field position or turnovers or penalties. It would be, well, was our game plan right going into that game in terms of offense? Our UDFA, who was not gun shy the previous 2 weeks. If anything, he was just a gunslinger and just making mistakes going downfield, but he was at least pushing it downfield. Suddenly that flipped. Was it a lack of a separation downfield, or was it the game plan? Was I too harsh in terms of preaching conservative, just being too conservative and not turning the ball over? That's the stuff that I would be looking for and soul searching about, not the old school principles, because it was clearly strategy, scheme. That was a major factor yesterday, and what really can, help you when you don't have the talent, and there's just nothing getting done in that regard.
It's alarming, man. It really is.
And I'll be watching the tape later today too. I still haven't seen what happened downfield, which New Orleans was playing soft. There's no question. They were playing off, but I'm still stunned. Brady Cook was so, I even said it in your show, I'd rather see him throw picks than go into a shell. And he clearly went into a shell yesterday.
It's just, I don't know, man. I just have a lot of concerns with everything. And look, the good news is the Jets did, move up a spot in the Tankathon standings here. The Jets right now would pick 4. The good news is if the Jets lose out, the Giants and the Raiders are playing each other. So there's a path for the Jets to definitely get in the top 3. It's very complicated, though, down the stretch. What has to happen for the Jets to get the number 1 pick and what we should be rooting for. But again, that Giants-Raiders game is massive. This tweet from Rich Samini has the remaining schedules for every team. Giants will play at Vegas, then they'll play the Cowboys. That Cowboys game doesn't mean anything for Dallas. Vegas, they put forth a great effort yesterday. They could definitely beat the Giants if they play that way this week. They play the Chiefs with their third-string quarterback, the last game of the year. Cleveland will play Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh, with a win, would clinch the division. So they're going to be fully motivated. We'll see what happens with a possible suspension to DK Metcalf for that one. They play Cincinnati the last game of the year. Would Burrow play in that one? Sounds like he would, but we know the Bengals aren't great. Maybe that's winnable for Cleveland. But, I mean, again, as we sit here right now, I think a couple things that Jet fans need to pay attention to. The biggest being the Giants and the Raiders. The second biggest being what happens with Cleveland. And the third biggest being on January 15th, does Dante Moore, the quarterback of the Oregon Ducks, declare for the draft? Because if he does, there's that second QB in this draft, and that increases the Jets' chances of getting either Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. And we'll see how Ty Simpson looks in his next college football playoff game against Fernando Mendoza in the Rose Bowl, because Ty played well against Oklahoma, and there's some Jet fans who seem to like him again. So it's amazing how fickle we are. But
I've been on the Ty bandwagon the entire time, I feel like. But Dante Moore, like, the more I look at the tape, the more I really feel like Moore has the best tape. Now, a lot of it comes down to the individual, the person. And, a schlup like me is never going to meet them or know who they are. But
1 year starter too. So it's
very inexperienced, dangerous in that regard. But just looking at the tape purely, man, I'll hold my thoughts until I dig in further, but I'm really intrigued by Moore.
Oh, man. Well, we will see how this plays out, Jet fans, but it's
who's going to be coaching them? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Engstrand, right? Because I had a caller yesterday say, I'm not sold on Engstrand. Glenn should just get rid of him. And I'm thinking to myself, if Aaron Glenn's first year, he ends up firing his defensive coordinator, which has already happened, and now he fires his offensive coordinator, shouldn't he just fire himself at that point? Again, why is Aaron Glenn getting to pick two brand new? What does he do? That's my big thing. If we're firing Tanner, then Woody, wake up and just admit you made a mistake with this guy and start fresh before it's too late. Because, Robbie, I'm sorry, this team's going to go 5-12 next year, and he's going to be fired after 2026, and we're going to be doing this all over again anyway. Be proactive for once. Do you think Robert Kraft regrets firing a franchise legend in New England and Gerard Mayo? Like, no, of course not. So it's just, look, I'm just off my rocker today because I'm just so disgusted with what we're watching and people trying to justify it like this is the master plan, what they had all along. You're a fool if you believe that, but I digress.
There's been a bunch of things that have changed. The offseason, we're not here to lose. We're here to win. Talking up Fields, the coaching stuff you pointed out with McDonald, he was brash, man. Like, he was really brash. Not Rex Ryan brash, but pretty damn brash. And I get it, for a lot of fans that hypes you up, that gets you going. It's a thing of hope. It's a thing that gets you to jump out of bed earlier in the morning. And someone said in the comments, I'm too nice to AG. Listen, I don't care about AG. Like, you got to understand, I'm trying to get to the source, and the source is the Jets, the organization, Woody, understanding that today is completely different sport compared to 2010. It's not a coincidence that they have had no success since the rules changed in a major way. It's not a coincidence. I'm sorry. That's it. So I don't care about AG. I care about Woody and the Jets organization. So nice, mean, who cares? I don't give a crap. It is about the Jets figuring it out and understanding that when you hire a coach, first of all, when you go through a hiring cycle, can we please interview Mike McCarthy? Can we please interview the top candidates? Why wouldn't we interview the top candidates?
Oh, because they would say, hey, let's run it back with Aaron Rodgers and draft a quarterback behind him and give our team a chance to establish a winning culture by doing this novel concept called winning football games.
Okay, so listen, there's no way, and no one has admitted it. It's not come out publicly, so there's no way to know what the real deal was truly. Glenn, the story is officially that Glenn didn't want Rodgers. He had that meeting, booted him out of town, fine. For those who either love Rodgers or hate Rodgers, I don't care what your feelings are towards him. It's kind of irrelevant if Rodgers was here or not. What is relevant is going through the process and not interviewing the top guys it stinks. The whole process stinks from that point forward, and the league sees that it stinks. So that is the genesis of this thing. Rodgers is the litmus test. He represents, how they just keep continuing to chug in the wrong way. It's not about Rodgers coming back or not. It's about the process. That's my whole point. And I just think 33rd team, listen, I get it, but I wasn't a fan of that either. It just, please do your homework. And when you're interviewing guys in the future, I'm not saying Glenn's gone or anything, but when you do, don't interview them based on if they motivate you. That's not the way to do it. Interview them and hire them and, sort them out based on innovation, not motivation. That's the biggest thing I could say.
It's just amazing. There were 3 teams that finished in last place in their division last year, and they've now already clinched a playoff spot.
But they have quarterbacks, Jake.
Bears, Patriots. It's like we make every excuse.
But they have quarterbacks,
possible.
Jake.
Of course. Of course. It's just
they have quarterbacks. So that's the quarterback is the entire difference of everything.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. I'm not saying the Jets should have the same record as those teams, but you should at least see something intriguing.
The Jets should be what the Saints are, Robbie. Like that's a team that actually looked like the worst team in the league and is showing real improvement down the stretch. They've won some division games. Their young players have gotten better. Their quarterback is being properly developed by an offensive strategist as their head coach, which is where the league is going. And if you want to talk about defensive coaches in the league, the new ones, the modern ones, the Mike McDonalds of the world, the DeMeco Ryans of the world, the ones that have had success, they call the plays. Again, Glenn coaches the Jets like it's the 90s and 2000s where you want the rah guy, physicality, the raw macho man. And it's not how you win in the modern NFL. It's just not.
Well, how about this too? Draft Chuck or Dart or identify the right quarterback for today's modern era. I mean, it's just there's so much to say that it's hard to say it. That's where we are.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn to turn it around because I still don't think he's going to be fired. But look, should the Saints really be 23 points better than the Jets? Should the Miami Dolphins come into your building and they already benched Tua, by the way? And should they destroy you the way they did? Should Trevor Lawrence put up 48 on you? It's
Kellen Moore is the head coach. He's the mic and the helmet for Shuck. And what that does is, and listen, by the way, Chris Harris, I thought Chris Harris's game plan was nice in the beginning. He actually
was.
Yeah. First half, he did a lot of good things, played off coverage, wasn't stubborn. I saw 3rd and long. We went over the film last week here. They were playing press in a 3rd and 13, and that was the one that Lawrence ran in for the second touchdown. Stiggers got called for DPI. They were playing off coverage. They were not banging their head against the wall, doing stubborn things. So I liked it. Some of the blitz stuff was good. They were being responsible. Sherwood was doing the right things, focusing on his keys. But more as the mic in Shuck's helmet, you saw it. They struggled early. They got together at halftime, and they eventually figured it out. Whereas the other side, they just had no answers offensively, nothing. And again, I think it's a major advantage having that quarterback, having the communication between the guy who creates the game plan, speaking into the helmet to that quarterback. I think no one wants to say it, but I think it's a huge advantage in today's game with these rules.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Robby Sabo is with us. We're giving away a signed Wayne Corbett helmet on the show today. Appreciate all of you. I'm going to gift the membership to get us going here because we don't have any as of this moment until right now, baby. 1 gifted membership is coming. If you get it, you are in the Asmaniac raffle for a chance to win this signed helmet.
Hello? You play to win the game.
The Jets don't know how to win, Coach Herm, but Pork Star, that's Pork in the Morning, he's in the raffle for 1. He received a gifted membership. We're going to get your calls coming up. Robbie, what else from yesterday would you like to discuss watching this game that we have not specifically hit on to this point before we get to some calls?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't gone through the tape yet, so it's going to be tough. Again, at first half, I thought the defensive game plan was fine. Offensive game plan, I thought was okay too. I'll give Engstrand kudos in this regard. He and I said it in real time. He adapted quickly to Cook's strengths. Cook has a quick release. He's a lot of receiver screens. He was placing it in the right spot. The rushing was solid early, but again, the one thing with Fields and that zone read RPO threat, the rushing comes tougher. It comes tougher without that guy. That was Glenn's vision, the rushing offense. And with that read option, east-west quarterback threat, that it was clear. That's what he wanted. And unfortunately, he picked that in the year where all the offense for the teams that run that offense all fell apart. Lamar, Baltimore, Jay Daniels, Washington. It's amazing. So short passing still reigns supreme, and they just picked the wrong offense at the wrong time.
It's just
think about it. Think about it. If you're a Jets fan, Lamar's tearing up the league. Jay Daniels comes on the scene, tears it up last year. You got Kingsbury and Monken. And first of all, I think Baltimore misses Greg Roman. Everyone was booting Roman out of the door, and I love the guy. He's doing good things in San Diego. But yeah, it's an evolution. And as soon as the Jets go that direction, it all falls apart. The same exact season.
It's just, you can't make it up.
Yeah.
You just, I hate being a fan of this team. I love this fan base. It's tough, man. And you know what's really concerning too, Robbie? Look at the box scores of these games and then remember how you felt in real time watching them. They've been non-competitive in so many games this year. The deal. I mean, I started to get real reservations about the head coach week 2 when they came out at home against a Bills team that we know this year has their issues. They're not the vintage 15-2 Bills from a few years ago. And they just got their asses kicked. First game, division opponent, like they were not ready to play. Then they follow that up with the game in Tampa that you and I were at, melting away. And Aaron Glenn comes out after that fake comeback and says, these are not the same old Jets. Are you kidding me? You're right, Aaron. They're worse because you're about to join Kotitie and Gase as the only coaches to lose 14 games or more in a single season. So you look at the box scores here. Some of it was garbage time. They were not competitive in really either of the Dolphins game, but for being honest, they had an onside kick after a garbage time score late in the Monday night game.
And Fields' 40-yarder or whatever it was,
Flip play.
Yeah.
They're down 17-3. Dallas blowout. I mean, you keep going here, right? New England, they were competitive for a half. Baltimore, they were competitive for a half. Atlanta, fluky win. They needed a special teams muff punt to recover at the 1-yard line and a Nick Folk kick in the rain from 56 to win that one. Destroyed against Miami, destroyed against Jacksonville, destroyed against New Orleans, who a 4-10 team coming in. Now they're likely going to end the year getting destroyed by New England and Buffalo. So that'd be 5 losses in a row where you're just getting pummeled. I mean, again, this team is so poorly coached. And yes, the roster is also bad, but that should not make an excuse for what we're seeing. And Woody Johnson has no spine. If he did, he'd recognize the mistake and do something about it. So we don't waste 2026 with Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, or whoever.
The Buffalo tape I might have poured over more than any other game this year. And it was one of the worst tapes I've ever watched at the NFL level because it was as if Buffalo was in the Jets huddle. They were guessing correctly on defense so efficiently. It was wild. Like Buffalo blitzes their corners a lot, but it's not like an old cat blitz where he's coming from outside the numbers. It gets home real quickly because this is a condensed NFL. Like the splits are very tight. That's why you see a lot of tight formations. Yet the Jets come out in condensed formations and they're getting destroyed by corner blitzes because it works perfectly. I couldn't even begin to criticize Fields for that tape, for that game. That's how bad it was. So that was their welcome to the league moment. And it was beyond that. It should never look that bad. And by the way, what he said after Tampa game, let's break this down. We're not the same old Jets. Okay. What is his goal? What's he trying to achieve?
Be worse.
Motivation.
Oh, sorry.
Motivation. What does that do? Like, again, it's not the same league. The motivational head coaching archetype doesn't push the needle. It doesn't do it, man. Listen, and funny enough, Aaron Rodgers, after calling out his teammates 3 weeks ago, they're 3-0 since. And I understand the red line Mike Williams stuff, the comments last year were widely panned, and I get why. It's a rough thing. It's a rough around the edges. But I want my leaders to sometimes ruffle feathers. And coming into the year, how brash Glenn was, I at least thought he was going to call out guys publicly. And I haven't really seen that.
Well, he was more critical of Brady Cook this week than he ever was of Justin Fields. Like, it's mind-boggling.
And in a vacuum, good. That's what I would say. Like, try to get that carrot on a stick. Try to get him going. Like, he had a bad game. But to your point, I understand what you're saying. Like it doesn't wash comparatively.
And you know what sucks? Like, Aaron Glenn was a great player. I don't enjoy being this critical of him, but I can't lie. Like, again, if Aaron Glenn didn't play for the Jets 30 years ago, I think the people who are still trying to defend this coach would feel a lot differently. Like,
It makes
sometimes you just,
things,
you know what I mean? Like, it sucks. But if we're being honest here, Glenn does not fit where this team is now going. We're like, what have you seen that tells you this franchise has the right people in place to help with a quarterback that oversee a quarterback, rookie selection, and then develop said player. Again, I don't think Angstram's been terrible, but do I have a ton of confidence in him? Yeah, like
yeah.
And when they signed Fields, one of the things Glenn said was, he's never been coached properly. We're going to coach him up. We're going to let him play quarterback. But he also said part of the reason why they signed him was because he was so difficult to game plan against. Really? Like, that's not alarming for Jet fans that this guy who's unplayable this year, our head coach said part of the reason we gave him $30 million guaranteed and believed in him is because he was so difficult to game plan against. And then when they have him, some of the things that made Fields dynamic in this league and why people kept trying to buy into him as a potential, franchise QB, they completely went away from. There were no innovative ways of using Fields' legs and establishing this elite running game. Everything they said they were going to do, we saw it in one game this year. The Pittsburgh game was the true best of what this offense could be, and it's been all downhill after that.
I said it in the summer. Glenn, a bunch of times probably because I'm an annoying, repetitive MFer. But as a DC, there's nothing more infuriating than doing everything correct on the football field on a 3rd and 12. Perfect coverage, perfect responsibility up front. And yet the quarterback just scampers and breaks your back for a crucial first down. That was implanted in Glenn's mind, no question. And I get that. And I understand that. And looking at Philly last year and Lamar and some of the offenses that were working, I understand that line of thinking. However, it doesn't even come close to the real evolution of the NFL, and that is short passing. 5 years straight, 5 years running, yards per completion is the lowest in NFL history. Take a bow. Case closed, period. That is remarkable. And when considering that, and considering that is the most major driver in today's NFL for teams to have success, going with Fields' long release and, short passing inefficiency is a tough thing. It really is. So I just think it's an awareness of what gives you the best odds.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. We got plenty of your calls to get into here. Let's get to a few super chats here. Big shout out to everyone tuned in. This will be a bit of a shorter show than you're accustomed to. I'm in for Michael K on ESPN New York today from 1 to 3 Eastern. Connor Rogers of Badlands and Jets Pre and Post and SNY will join me at 2:30 on the show. So if you don't get in today on StreamYard here on YouTube, call into the radio show. And if I recognize the name, if you're an Asmaniac, I'll bump you to the front of the line. Chris starts us off. He's in our Wayne Corbett helmet raffle on the show today for 2 with this. I know it wouldn't have worked out for a variety of reasons, but Glenn having the audacity to look at Aaron Rodgers in the face and tell him they didn't need him and then replace him with Fields. Yeah, that's his whole super chat. Again, Robbie, you brought it up earlier. It's the whole it's just about the whole process, right? The process to get Glenn was because we couldn't have anyone who would dare consider Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, here's Mike Tomlin, 9-6, likely going to win that division with Aaron Rodgers, who's playing at a very similar level to how he was playing with the Jets. The Steelers just have the right coaching. And Steelers fans have the audacity to try and run Mike Tomlin out of town. Please. He does less with more better than anyone in the NFL, and he's doing it again this year.
Yeah. It's not about whether
he does more with less. I misspoke.
Right.
He does more with less than anyone else in the NFL. Maybe Shanahan's the only other example.
They've been tremendous, man. Kudos to Shanahan, Saleh, the Niner staff, but
go Saleh tonight. They're playing the Colts on Monday night. We need them to lose.
Yes. Old man Rivers, another old man quarterback in the NFL. I'm telling you.
By the way, did you see this? So because the Steelers beat the Lions, that clinched the playoff spot for the 49ers. So Aaron Rodgers got Robert Saleh to the playoffs. Just
wow, I did not know that. Holy cow. And Detroit's 8-7. Anyone who would have said that before the season would have been put in a white padded room. Detroit's going to be 8-7 this year. But there they are. It's not about whether it was going to. What does workout mean with Rodgers? Like, what does that mean? Super Bowl? It doesn't. we have to stop romanticizing the plan. It's just about trying to make moves to put the best roster, best team on the field. Like it's that simplistic sometimes, and we do these mental gymnastics to talk ourselves out of having a better player at a certain position for certain reasons. I just don't understand sometimes.
Yeah, but Robbie, you don't know. It's coaching, man. It's coaching. That's all it is. It's coaching.
We saw a lot of that. The speed last year, we saw a lot of with Will.
Yep.
The spins, the coming around the edge. The power that he put on, I don't know if you need the replay if you haven't seen it yet, but he went over him at one point. Is that even a new element to his game when you said he added some weight?
Coaching.
Is that now what he can do?
Coaching. It's coaching.
How so? Like, what do you mean?
Because he can do it. You just said he's never done it last year, right?
Not much.
Now you see him do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
Coaching. Hey, coach, what's our record? 3-12? It's coaching, Robbie. That's all it is.
You know what else too? It's very hard to put together a great staff today. And you know, I'm looking at this staff. You know, Banjo's been great, obviously. Hayden has been tremendous, I think. Engstrand's tough to evaluate, but that is more than half the battle, I think. If you're a head coach, having the right connections and hiring the right guys to coach your team. And I think they have fallen well short of what they needed.
Well, he's got to hire another DC now. And I mean, what
a quarterback's coach too, by the way.
We don't have a quarterback coach. We have a quarterback coach who's a former running back who obviously knows a ton about coaching.
Well, here's the other thing for Engstrand. You know, we got to give him grace in this regard. You come into this year with a very specified offense in terms of zone read option, RPO.
Which again, Robbie, if that's their plan, that's fine, right? But then maybe Engstrand wasn't the right offensive coordinator choice, right? Like when Lamar was being built up into the player he eventually became, Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator there, right?
And Greg Roman had experience. He did it with Kaepernick in San Fran.
Exactly. Harbaugh got that hire right when he brought him in.
Yes,
so
it is a very massive thing. I keep saying Campbell in Detroit. Listen, I'm not saying Campbell's a terrible coach, but it was so obvious. Like some fans tried to convince themselves otherwise, but Detroit's turnaround coincided directly with Detroit getting rid of Anthony Lynn and hiring Ben Johnson. Directly coincided with that in 2022. There's no way to argue with me about it. So it is. Look at Rex with that staff. That staff was loaded. It was tremendous. I think that's going to be a major factor that's being really underrated right now.
This is what happens though when you hire a first-time head coach. How does he know how to hire a good coaching staff? He's never done it before.
Does he
have great connections around the league? Like I think people respect Aaron Glenn as like a good dude, former player. Players respect him, but does he know strategy? Like, is his football like Rex knew defensive strategy? Like the guy was brilliant, right?
Yes.
Saleh, for all his warts as maybe a head coach, he knew how to coach defense. Aaron Glenn's defenses in Detroit, they were not that good. Like, does he understand strategy? My fear with the Wilkes situation is part of the reason why he hired Wilkes is because he knows that he can actually coach defense. He can't do it. So let's delegate it to someone else. And he got that hire so spectacularly wrong. Some want Glenn to call the defense. And I think I was in that camp, but now I'm thinking, do I even want that? Is he actually good enough to do that? Like, that's the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And to tell you the truth, the more important convo is, does he understand that offense drives defense in today's league? In other words, in Detroit, a lot of those defenses, I think, were propped up and much better due to situation, due to the offense just tearing up the ass of the opposition, getting a lead, time of possession, which puts the opposition in a desperate position, which you could play more pass defense. Like today's league, offense drives everything. And I still see a focus on 33% for each unit, special teams, defense, offense. And I'm sorry, that's 15 years ago thinking.
Jesus Jerry says, Robbie, would you trade a draft pick to Prioray, a top-notch coach? Hashtag just asking. I understand the value. Yeah, 100%.
I would trade the entire draft this year for Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I would too. Oh my God.
Easy. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Do you remember last year when I suggested trading for Mike Tomlin? Because I have it on pretty good authority. The Jets were that team that inquired about Tomlin's availability.
Did they really? I don't remember that.
You remember that report that came out? The Schefter reported that the Jets reached out to the Steelers about Tomlin's availability, and the Steelers turned him down. I believe it's never been publicly said it's the Jets. I just trust me, I feel pretty confident in saying that it was the Jets doing their due diligence there.
Right.
But let's say even if it wasn't, I said I would love it. I trade the 7th pick in the draft for Mike Tomlin right now. Are the Jets better off with Armand Membu? To his credit, he's been really good, or would they be better off if Mike Tomlin was our head coach right now?
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, to be fair, I think Tomlin, the Pittsburgh's organization is so good.
But he's a big part of that. He's been there for 19 years.
100%. I'm not trying to poo-poo it, but I'm with you 100%. The convo of trading what you have to hurt yourself short term for a head coach is well worth it in every regard. No doubt.
JD says, tired of wanting to be Detroit. They suck. Nice weapons, but that's about it. Well, I'll tell you what, for everyone who's saying, oh, Dan Campbell was 3-13-1. He also was 9-8 at the end of year 2. Do you honestly believe, Jeff?
Started slow and then
that this team will be 9-8 with a rookie quarterback in likelihood playing next year. And again, I'm not even asking them necessarily to be 9-8 next year. We'll see what the roster looks like, but they need to be so much better than what we have seen. And I'm sorry, I don't see it. I think we're going to go 5-12 next year. And we're going to be doing this all over again in 2027 with a new coach. And we hope that they still have all 3 of those ones in 2027 to either get a quarterback if they screw it up so badly this offseason, or to make that job super attractive for whoever the next head coach is. Because we could sit here and say, give Glenn more time, and that's fine. Let's give him more time. And then when they start 1-5 next year, everyone's going to be saying, fire Glenn. The season will be cooked, and we'll be waiting to get to the end of 26 so we can start the coaching search all over again. If people don't see where this is going, you haven't been watching the Jets the last 15 years. I hate to say it. I hope hell I am wrong. I hope I've never wanted to be so wrong. But I'm so down on this franchise because, again, I understand that there's a lack of talent. I understand that it's better for them to lose. They have been embarrassed 3 straight weeks. They should not be 23 points worse than a 4-10 football team. That's pathetic what we're watching. Pathetic.
I agree. I totally agree. But I'll play devil's advocate. And this is why I'm not a radio guy, because I'm not firm. I totally agree with you, but there is a chance Glenn could have success.
Please.
Just understand the odds are slimmer. It's such a tougher path to do it this way with this type of vision, with this type of guy. You have to have, an all-world OC play caller. You have to have everything buttoned up, and it doesn't look good. So I totally agree with you, but it's not to say he's destined to fail 100%, but 99, it doesn't look good. Let's say that.
Bino says the odds this looks better, or Glenn suddenly becomes different, less arrogant head coach in 26 is poor delusion. The fact that people defend it or accept it. We're fans. We got no choice. We just got to hope he improves. NYC writes in, I'm all in on firing Glenn. Who's out there on the offensive side that we could hire as a head coach? Because every team that has a great offense is the head coach calling the O. I mean, the usual candidates, right? If you want the experience route, Mike McCarthy would probably be the first name. Cliff Kingsbury, would get a second chance potentially as the OC of the Commanders. Joe Brady, who's the OC of the Bills, would be a trendy name.
Yeah, Brady intrigues me. Yeah, Kubiak intrigues me too.
Yep, he's Seattle's offensive coordinator with Darnold.
By the way, when you look, I don't know if this is true or not, are the last 5 or 6 Super Bowl head coaches all from the offensive side? Someone look at that for me real quick. I saw that in passing. But yeah, who else, Jake, candidate-wise?
Kubiak, Brady, Kingsbury, McCarthy. I'm just thinking of it. He asked for offensive guys. Gruden, if you want to count him.
I think that's fair. Brady, if the job were to open, I would go hard after Brady and Kubiak for sure. Kingsbury would absolutely be on my list. Washington had a down year, but listen, he did some good things in Arizona initially. He's got to be on the list.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dominic D'Angelo has gifted 1 channel membership. Thank you, Dom. Great work with the socials. He is in the raffle for 1. Bino is also in the raffle for 1. He signed up and became a channel member. Again, Wayne Corbett autographed helmet is our giveaway today on the shows. Snowball checks in. Rip the Band-Aid off. Get an offensive-minded coach in here ASAP. Kubiak, Brady, Monken, McCarthy. Monken, another name, although the Ravens are a bit of a mess this year. If Harbaugh ever got fired, if they just think it's gotten stale and they're doing something new, oh my God, would I kill to have Harbaugh. ABR Tom Thibodeau, if you want to use
illegal things, honestly. And for the fans who say, "Oh, CEO coaches work," yeah, of course. Look at Vrabel, of course. Look at Tomlin,
Stefanski, another name, by the way, for offensive.
Stefanski's another name. Sure, yeah. CEO coaches can work, but it's not the same as the old CEO coach. It's different. If you think Vrabel is not a strategist, you're lost.
Oh, he's brilliant. Vrabel.
He does so many great defensive things, and guess what? He has probably one of the best offensive coordinators of all time in McDaniels. There's no, I know it's Jets land here and he's a Pats guy, but we got to be fair. I'm not saying greatest offensive play callers. He's somewhat in the discussion, but offensive coordinators, he definitely is on that list.
Bang Mateo has just gifted a membership. Hey now, holy hell. Can't believe my eyes. Oh my God, that really does. I guess he likes our conversation because I saw you super chatted. We need an offensive X's and O's head coach, not a rah-rah jock. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about, so I guess he agrees with us. How about that?
Look at D'Amico. I mean, he calls the plays. It just feels like he's more, in the know, invested and grasps what today's league is about. Doesn't it? It just even game management stuff. I'm not saying he's perfect, but there's just something missing. Again, there's so many things to say, it's hard to even know where to begin.
To your calls we go. Renzel is first today. Then we'll get back to your super chats. Renzel is a staunch Aaron Glenn defender, so I'm curious what he'll say today. Hello, Renzel.
Good morning, guys. First of all, let's start off by this. I am not saying Glenn is a good coach, but I am saying we have to be patient. Why? Because, all right, I have so much things to say that when you get on here, you clearly forget. So, excuse me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, the reason why I want to give him a chance is because he had the right thought process coming in. He wanted to run the offense that works, which is an RPO offense. He brought in a good OC. The DC hire, he got it wrong. Okay, it happens. Campbell also had his OC hire wrong, so we can't hold him down for that. The special teams hire, he got it right. So those are optimistic stuff that he has done that leads me to say that he knows what he wants and he knows what he's doing. Okay, yes, he did come in very arrogant, but I don't know if you guys noticed that quickly dimmed down. Since week 7, he quickly realized that this wasn't going to be
no. That dimmed down because he started 0-7 and
whatever the reason was. Okay.
That's the reason. Because he's done a terrible job, Renzel.
Hold up, Jake. Before you go, hold up. We started 0-7. Cool. That 0-7 wasn't on Glenn, Jake.
He's the first Jet coach to ever start 0-7 in his first year. Gase never did that. Kotitie never did that.
Can I finish? The first game we lost on a 62-yard field goal. We lost on a 60-something yard field goal. That is ridiculous.
No. They lost because he kept Xavier Gibson on the roster. That's why they lost.
Come on, man. Yeah, Xavier Gibson is on another roster, by the way. He's still on that roster. But
he's been cut from 2 other rosters since then. The Jets had to have him be the kickoff returner.
He's an NFL player. He's on the roster still, and he's still.
He's been cut by 2 other teams this year. He's not on the roster right now. It doesn't matter. He's on the roster,
Jake. So for you to say that he kept him on the roster was such a bad thing, he's on another team. So he's not that
Renzo. Let's break it down. Renzo, let's break it down. So, I agree with you initially. There were signs that he understands and understood today's league, 100%. Trying to hop on that QB evolution with Fields, Engstrand, doing certain things that make sense for the league. Yes. But that's just theory. That's just public talking. In practice, the game plans are never right. In practice, week to week, during the battle, it doesn't match up with those little spots where you go, maybe he does understand this league. Everyone who's coaching understands the league, like what's happening. It doesn't mean they could actually put it into practice. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. So let's go back, right? The first game, 60-yard field goal. The second game against the Bucks, what happened? We lost on the field goal.
Buffalo.
Again. We lost on the field. Buffalo. I'm sorry, Buffalo. Justin Fields.
Don't tell me they lost on a field goal, Renzo. Watch the game. Did the Jets actually play well that day?
If you're gonna let me, can I just go, bro? Like, Buffalo,
defend Aaron Glenn, and then
Justin
we'll
Fields caught a
respond.
concussion in the second quarter, and we got blown out. That's not the
Well,
reason
no,
why.
hold on.
It was in the fourth quarter. If you're going to say incorrect things, I'm not going to let you just spout it.
Hold on. The major part of the reason he got a concussion is because they were so badly out schemed that
All right.
it was the equivalent of someone pantsing him.
That happened. It happened. We got blown out.
Oh no!
Third game,
getting out schemed happens. Getting
it happens.
pantsed,
Coach,
getting
get out.
pantsed in the middle of the field.
So what
is
did
rare.
you call? What did you call what Jacksonville did to the number one defense yesterday? They out schemed the number one defense. It happens every day.
No.
Every Sunday,
There's shades of gray you're missing. There's shades of gray you're missing.
This is pathetic.
Denver versus Jacksonville wasn't the same thing as Jets versus Buffalo.
You said he got out schemed. Yes, he got out schemed. It happened. What the number one defense got put up 37 points on them yesterday. Did they not?
So you think that was an equivalent loss to the Jets losing to Buffalo?
I'm not comparing the law. I'm just.
I am because it matters.
Cohen out schemed the DC from Denver. Did it happen? Yes or no?
So you're only in yes and no world. There's no conversation.
I'm asking you a question. Did it happen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Just answer the question.
What's your point?
Did Cohen get the best out of the number one defense yesterday? Yes or no?
What's your point?
It's just a simple question. Can you answer the question? Because you're comparing. You're saying he got out schemed, and I'm trying to tell you is teams get out schemed. Sometimes the defense gets the best out of it. Sometimes the defense gets the best off that.
The light bulb went on. See the light bulb went on. It was like, whoa! I didn't know teams got out schemed. Really?
Well, you acting like you don't know. You acting like an idiot. Like, oh, it happened. Yes, it happens every Sunday. Somebody can out scheme another coach.
And the Jets are out schemed every week, Renzo.
It's like I'm an Undertaker, and I just sat up.
Moving on. Week 3, we lost to another field goal. Week 4 against Miami, is it his fault that Braylon Allen fumbled the ball? Is it his fault that Breece Hall fumbled the ball at the goal line? I don't think that's his fault. That's another week. Week 5 was his game. He blew that game against Denver. That is totally on Glenn. First year coaching. Okay, it happened. We blew the game. Week 6.
Wait a second though, but Fields if he got the first down, it's not Glenn's fault. Fields couldn't get the first down. That's on Fields, not Glenn.
What are you talking about first
Fields
down?
had a 4th and 8. If he just completes it, they win the game. That's on Fields, not Glenn.
We're talking about before that. Who fumbled the ball? When we was going to tie the game.
I'm agreeing with you. London game's not on Glenn. It's on Fields for not completing it.
Cool.
That's not on Glenn.
Going to game 6. Going to the Denver game, that's on Glenn.
No,
Panthers game. Fields was horrendous. He did the right thing that you were screaming for him to do against Denver. He pulled Tyrod. He put Tyrod in the game. What did Tyrod do? He turned the ball over 2 times. Trying to tie the game or go for the lead. He turned the ball over 2 times. So he did what?
Renzo, how many excuses are you going to... Can I ask you some
I'm
questions?
not making excuses because I started
you are.
the ball.
You are. Because you're trying to go through every game on the schedule. Let's do the last 3, Renzo. No,
Renzo. You're hearing what you want to hear because I started the ball and said he's not a good coach.
Let me ask you a couple questions. Here are the 3 questions for you. Ready? Question number 1. This head coach said that they would get better as the year progresses. He said this before the year. He also said this when they were 0-7 when he was being asked about the fact he said they're trying to win now. Then he started saying big ships take a while to change. Do you think the New York Jets have shown improvement from the beginning of the year to where we are right now with a couple games to go?
Yes, I do. Before these 3 games, before listen to me, before these 3 games that he had to go and play an undrafted rookie, we were in every game. Were we not? Before these 3 games, we were in every game. We won the last. What are you talking about?
What do you mean they were in every game? Do we really got to play, Renzo? Let's just be honest here. When you say they were in every game before these last 3,
before these 3 games,
they were in the game against Baltimore and New England for a half. Is that in the game to you? They still lost.
They were in the game.
They lost by 2 scores. They lost by 2 scores. Last year, I had to listen to people tell me that, because the Jets were so hardly coached because they blew the lead in the fourth quarter 7 times. They never get the lead.
You know what the problem is?
They're coached worse.
If you don't like a coach, you would never see anything. You just don't like him and you want him gone. And that's
how were they in the game? Were they in the game against Dallas? Were they in the game against Buffalo? I mean, they're in the game. Were they in the game against New England and Baltimore by the time the third quarter began?
Let me finish. I'm not here to say he's a good coach, but the point that you guys are trying to run this guy out, for what?
Does he do well, Renzo? What does Aaron Glenn do well? What has he improved?
First of all, he was not hired for X's and O's. He's not
That's
an
a
X's and O
problem.
guy.
That's
He's
a
a
problem.
That's the
builder.
point.
That's what we're saying.
He's a
That's
culture
problem.
builder. He's
Great.
a culture builder.
He's not good at it. He's not
How
building
do you
any.
know that? Do you
Because
listen to how the players talk about him? Just listen to every interview and what the players say. We believe in coach vision.
They're
Whatever coach
3
do,
and
we
12.
believe in him.
That's
with
the
me.
worst players.
That is one. What
Guy-
did Dan
Renzo.
Campbell say when Glenn got the job? He was the biggest reason why this turned around here in Detroit. Did he
Rich
not say that?
Kotitie was praised.
Did he not
my
say
man.
that?
Rich
I don't care
Kotitie
about
was
Kotitie. I didn't watch it.
praised.
I don't care about Kotitie.
Adam
I'm
Gase
talking
vouched for
facts.
Peyton Manning. Who
I'm talking
cares?
facts.
Who
No,
cares?
don't compare the two, Jake. Don't compare the two. It is a way different. Don't compare the two. This is what I'm talking about. When you guys don't like somebody, you don't care about facts. These
Dude,
are
what you're
facts.
saying is like
These
interviewing
are
Jeffrey
facts.
Dahmer.
No,
You're
these
not
are
saying
facts.
when another
Glenn,
murderer is on
wait, another
trial.
thing that's a fact. You said that you were scared that maybe he didn't know how to call a defense. That's why he's not calling it. That is the most ludicrous take you have ever said in your life, dude.
How?
There are
How?
people in Detroit saying their defense is horrendous without Glenn right now. There are
No,
people
there's
saying
peop-
they wish
there's
they had
people in
Glenn right now.
Detroit. There's people in Detroit saying that Aaron Glenn wasn't that good of a DC. We had
No,
a guy who
that-
covered the
he
Lions on
did
the show
a
tell
lot
you
more.
this.
He did a lot more with a lot less. And
Look
that
at the
is
numbers
a
here.
fact.
He
That
had
is
one
a
good
fact.
year. He
That
had
is a
one.
fact.
Renzo, his last
That is
game
a
as a
fact.
defensive coordinator, he allowed 40-plus points.
No, but you
In the
said
playoffs.
he's not calling
At
it
home.
because he doesn't know how to call it. That is a ludicrous take, dude. Don't say that.
We're
man. That is
discussing
ludicrous.
why a
That's
defensive
ludicrous.
coach
No.
was not involved in his defense. Do you
Because there's
think
a
it's-
million people that don't do it. Raheem Morris doesn't do it. You said D'Amico Ryan calls his plays. He don't call
They're-
plays. He's
They're
in
running
he's in
his
defense and
system,
offense.
though. He had no relationship with Wilkes. He
No.
said they're running the Wilkes system. Why didn't he pick a guy? Jeff Ulbrich was running Salah's system. He didn't pick a guy that ran his system.
Dude.
Why should we trust his judgment? He
Dude.
was wrong on Wilkes
Dude.
in spectacular fashion.
It-
He was wrong
just
on
like-
Fields in spectacular
Okay,
fashion. He
so-
promised player development. There's no
You
one
just said-
developing.
You just said he was wrong on Wilkes. So how many OCs has Tomlin hired in his tenure?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Mike
okay.
Tomlin wins
So
every year.
then let's talk facts.
Goodbye, Renzo. I'm not listening to you try and belittle now Mike Tomlin, who's 9-6 right now with a quarterback you probably couldn't wait to get rid of when it was all coaching in the first place. Enough. You're going to try and compare Aaron Glenn to Mike Tomlin? Aaron Glenn will not probably end up winning 10 total games in his time as the Jet coach. Mike Tomlin's going to win 10 games with Aaron Rodgers this year in all likelihood. I cannot listen to them try and bring up how many OCs Mike Tomlin's hired. Mike Vrabel had to hire a couple of OCs too, Renzo. You want to know why? Because he kept getting head coaching jobs because he was good at hiring his coaching staff. Aaron Glenn has already fired Steve Wilkes. I'm taking calls from people that want him to fire Tanner Engstrand. His only good hire, if you want to give him credit for a great hire, was Chris Banjo, who Mike Westhoff, who we all know is Jet fans.
Hayden too.
Fine, Hayden as well. I'll take your word for it. Like, again, Banjo was a spectacular hire. Give him credit for that. But again, you're trying to tell me he wasn't hired for his X's and O's, Renzo. You're right. That's what we're saying is a problem. That doesn't work in 2025. That's the issue with this team.
It's like I don't know if he heard one word I said. I'm hearing in the comments, I'm not being mean enough towards Glenn. And I said, I don't care about Glenn. I'm trying to get through Glenn. I'm trying to get to the organization. It's just, it's deeper than the head coach. Don't you get that? And Renzo hops on right after I say silly, in a silly way, probably. I admit it. Glenn still has a chance but the odds are very low. He still has a chance if he reflects and soul searches. And still, that's not good enough for Renzo. Think about it.
They're 3-12, man. He's about to do something that Gase and Kotitie have only done.
The Jets fan base is broken. And listen, I know Renzo doesn't speak for everybody, but to some degree, it's true. There are a lot of rational folks out there, a lot of irrational folks. It's in any group, doctors, teachers, whatever, police. But by and large, it's broken for a very good reason, because there hasn't been anything to have the fans be anything but broken. So it's not the fans' fault, but there is some modicum of truth there for sure.
It just, again, if you want to defend Glenn, you have to tell me what he's doing well as a coach right now. Don't tell me the players are speaking highly of him. That's not enough, man.
Well, yeah,
I would
like,
hope he wouldn't lose the players in year one. He's going to get
every
the built-up
coach-
cachet that he's a former player. He's one of them. He'll get that for a year. When they start 1-5 next year, that's all gone, and it's going to be the same old same.
The Braves players backed up John Rocker in the late 90s. Like, what are we talking about here?
A great
my
comment from Jet
God.
Li. Renzel celebrates this team being close in games. They've been blown out in half their games, Renzel. Half of them. And you're trying to tell before the last, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? You're trying to tell me before the last three. Oh, you mean the negative 75 point differential they've had over the last 3 games? 2 of those games against a bad Dolphins team and a 4-10 bad Saints team? Should the Jets really be 23 points worse than the New Orleans Saints, who are starting a rookie quarterback as well? Really? I get it. They're not expected to win these games. It's how they're losing that if you're not critical now, you're going to be setting yourself up to be incredibly disappointed when we suck again next year, and it's year 16 and counting of missing the playoffs.
It's like for Jets fans, keeping it close to Jets fans, Mangini's first year, they were expected to be one of the worst teams in the league that year. They draft Brick, Mangold. They have no weapons whatsoever. Kotitie comes out of nowhere. Going into that year, Kotitie was an afterthought. And then all of a sudden, Mangini spotted him, and he started in August, and was like, okay, this kid has something. Pennington, still the quarterback, injury questions galore. Like, no one knew what to expect. In other words, no one's asking for 10 wins like Mangini in 2006, but a good coaching performance smacks you in the face. If you have to debate it and do mental gymnastics, the odds are very good that it hasn't been a good coaching performance. That's pretty much the long and short of it.
Again, no one could actually defend Aaron Glenn's coaching ability. They're just saying, be patient. And it's like, okay, give me year 2. And we all see where this is going. We could be in denial about it if we want. But
by the way, I hate to encourage him, like guys like Renzel, but I really do think Glenn would have been a great coach 20 years ago. I'm not shitting you. Like, I really do believe it. It's just that the game has done a 180. If we're arguing like Renzel at that level in terms of Glenn specifically, we're missing the boat.
He wasn't hired to be an X's and O's guy. Yeah, that's the problem.
That is the issue.
And if he's not an X's and O's guy, his coordinator hires need to be great with people who are X and O's guys. And he already struck out on Steve Wilkes. He botched that one incredibly.
They have to be stellar, and they have to be so interconnected in a way that it's tougher. It's tougher. Like, if you're a head coach who calls the offense, even the defense, it's easier to have everything connected because the game plan funnels from him, and one unit complements another depending on the week. It's difficult. It's more difficult this way.
Oh my God, Renzo just said Vrabel isn't an X and an O. You have no idea what you're talking about. Have you ever seen Vrabel's in-game strategy?
Turn on the Ravens Titans playoff game,
or turn on the Ravens ending Belichick in Brady's time together in New England when they went in there and won on the road. I remember he outsmarted Belichick, knowing the rules better at the end of the game with like the delay a game, false start, how to drain the clock. I forget the exact scenario. Vrabel is brilliant. Renzo, you have no clue. You don't know your head from your ass if you're going to try and sit here and tell me that Mike Vrabel is not an X's and O's coach. I'm sure he's a rah-rah guy too, and he has respect as a former player. We can only hope Aaron Glenn is like Mike Vrabel, someone who was a former player, relatable, can obviously connect with his players, but also is a brilliant strategist and also can make good hires. Look how many coaches Mike Vrabel has hired that ended up being head coaches elsewhere. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Renzel, guys, I'm a defensive coach. I coach at the high school level. I'm a defensive coach at heart. I cry inside when I have to say these things. I die a little bit more inside every time. I acknowledge what the league has become, what the sport has become. But guess what? That's what it's become. Port Jervis won the state championship last year, not this year. This year, brutal playoff loss, but last year. And the game plan, they had more talent, but the game plan was very specific in terms of we cannot enter this game thinking we're going to shut them out. We can't. They're going to score on us. They're going to put up yards. So how do we approach it? Make them earn it. We cannot give up any big plays. We got to play soft. We can give up first downs. We can give them the flat. Let them drive the field. Make them earn it. They're going to score over 20 on us. That's fine. But if we do the right thing and give up the right stuff, Our offense will take care of the rest, and we won 34-27. That's what this league has become. This sport has become. It's offensive driven. The other units work complementary to the offense.
Breaking sports news on the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Glenn, moments ago.
Brady will be our starting quarterback. Listen, there were some things in that game, and I think if you go back and watch the beginning of the game, I thought he was doing a really, really good job. But as the game progressed, I will say this, between Brady making some mistakes, between the protection of the O-line, between some of the concepts that we have for him, all of our hands are involved with some of the mistakes that happened in that game. But I thought he did a really good job at the beginning of that game, managing the game the right way.
Okay, so there you go.
Manage
Brady
the game the right way. That's what gets my antenna up. What is his thinking behind that statement? Is the game plan that and listen, to some degree, it has to be conservative with the UDFA, no question about it. But did that hamstring them going into? That's the question I would be obsessing over if I were Glenn and the Jets coaching staff.
Brady Cook against the Pats. They had no chance anyway, but I'm just glad they're not going back the Tyrod or Fields. I never want to see Justin Fields again. Just brutal.
Yeah, Fields, it's disappointing. Disappointing if those reports are true. Who was that, Samini, with the report that he didn't want to risk injury on
It's not even a report. He said it. He said he would have concern coming in as a Wildcat quarterback because of a soft tissue injury. Hey, Taysom Hill, he said that. He said he would have concern of a soft tissue injury. He said it.
Yeah, it's rough. That's tough.
Yeah, I'm sure his teammates really appreciated their team captain saying that.
Yeah, it's tough.
I took an hour and 11 minutes of your time, Robbie, so I appreciate you. I'll stay on for the rest of the calls and the super chats. I don't want to put you through another call after that Renzel experience.
Oh, we could do more calls. I'm good if you want. It's up to you.
All right. Well, you know what? I got just the guy for you then. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the holiday season. Ho, ho, ho.
It's Santa Beast time from the Global Studios. It's not really an attic. You can't lace his boots or wipe his ass. Merry Christmas, bitches!
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas to all. And don't worry, Brady Cook will be nice and easy for the Patriots because we know we all stink the bed, and we're gonna get kabosh. Also known as shish kebab. I know. I mean, I don't like shish kebab. I don't. Robbie, do you like shish kebab?
Oh, come on! Of course.
I see.
Do you agree?
These last two games, let me just say, the pain. I can just picture the headache being like this. It's like being stretched. I'll give you a hint. You don't eat bubble gum, do you, Robbie? You don't eat bubble gum, do you?
Eat it. I think the last time I had bubble gum was Big League Chew in '98.
That had a kick to it. Chew. You don't try like Pal or Double Bubble or maybe Big Red?
It's been a while, dude. It's been a while.
I see that. Well, our boys really crapped the bed on this one. They didn't look like a team. They would look like they were falling asleep at the wheel. But on Wednesday night, I got 8 new reindeers coming in. Little Joey's going to be coming with onto the sleigh, and we're going to go and deliver the toys all over the world to the boys and girls who've been very, very nice and very respectful to their parents. And do you want a Christmas present there, Mr. Robbie?
What do you got?
Well, I could send you something in the mail and make it easier for everybody. Mr. Jake, your present is on the way today. Be prepared for that surprise.
I can't wait, Santa Beast. Can't wait.
It's Santa Beast time from the Global Studios. It's not really an attic. You can't lace his boots or wipe his ass. Merry Christmas, bitches!
What a call from
Dude,
Santa
shout
Beast.
out to the commenter the other day. I nearly wet myself when whoever it was asked Beast how Kevin Barlow played in the game.
Oh, that was tremendous.
That was genius, whoever that was.
I remember that well.
Yeah.
Robbie, you're the man. Thanks for the flexibility, man. Happy holidays, New Year, Merry Christmas to you. We'll get you out again soon, but appreciate you coming out a day early with Benigno out sick today. For those of you tuning in, wondering where Joe B is.
Yeah, man, I'm disappointed. Jeez, and I'm the replacement. So hopefully soon. Come on, Joe B.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah.
We need you healthy, ready to roll. Robbie, you're the man. This is for you.
It's up to you, New York, New York.
In honor of Robbie coming on today, his co-host on the Underdog podcast is Wayne Corbett. We're giving away a signed Wayne Corbett helmet on the shows. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to get caught up on some super chats, and I promise we're going to hit your calls. You know what? This guy's been online a while. He does a great job making a lot of our short social clips you've seen. And I don't know if he's actually ever called in before. Let's get Kevin on the line here because let's let him make some jet takes. What's up, Kevin?
Jake, what's going on, buddy? How's everything going?
What's up, Kev? I want to give you your flowers publicly. Kevin's been one of the people we brought on before the year started, making a lot of those shorts that you see on the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube for the show. So I appreciate all the work you put into it, man. And I know you're a diehard Jet fan suffering like all of us. So good to get you on the show.
I appreciate it, man. You're too kind, brother. Calls like Beast and Renzel and guys like Gary and Allen have just become a little bit this much more important to the show because this team is giving you nothing, man. We're not only getting punked by the contenders like Jacksonville and New England, we are now getting blown out by teams that you would consider to be in our weight class. New Orleans, the Dolphins. You can even maybe throw Dallas in there, even though Dak is a very good quarterback. But one thing that I want to ask you about, and I know the whole story about, Peyton Manning giving Chris Johnson the call and seducing him into hiring Adam Gase. But if you remember at that time period, there was reports, and I think it was Samini, about how they interviewed Mike McCarthy and he didn't interview well. And I want to know if you have any type of insight as to what went down. Like, how bad of an interview was this guy given to where they were willing to overlook him working with two other Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
It's a great question, Kevin. I don't remember anything other than what was reported. I have no particular inside knowledge why they weren't impressed by him, but that was the narrative that they didn't think very highly of him, which just kind of just shows you if they didn't think very highly of him and they ended up hiring Adam Gase, what chance do we have if the same people who made those decisions are still in the room with Woody Johnson and Chris Johnson, right? Like Jaime Elhai was one of the decision makers there. He's the team president. He's the one that's, dealing with the lawsuits alleging misconduct. He's still there. He was in the interview then. Woody and Chris were in the interviews then. I guess it was more Chris because Woody was in London. But again, the people that ultimately made that decision to go with Gase, they're still around the team because it was at the ownership level. So it's a huge problem. We might have lost Kevin there. Kevin, you still there?
Yeah.
Or not? All right. Good call by Kevin, though. Again, I don't think they're going to fire Aaron Glenn. Woody Johnson would certainly be justified if he did such a thing. This year has been that bad. You could tell me, oh, Jake, they're tanking now. Be objective. Look with what your eyes are telling you. Is this team well coached? Do they have an identity? Do they run a good scheme? The entire defense is soiled now. 2 years ago, they had a really good defense. Oh, but Jake, they traded Sauce and Quinnen. They sucked with those guys. We have a defensive head coach. Our team does not have an interception. We have a coach who's a former Pro Bowl defensive back. We don't have an interception this year. We have broken the NFL record for that. Be objective here, Jet fans. What you're seeing, yes, the roster needs improvements. Yes, the quarterback situation is an abomination. Is this team well coached? Are they ever actually going to win anything with Aaron Glenn? You could tell me yes, and I hope you're right, but I think you're just hoping at that point. All we have is hope. There's no tangible evidence that this team has the right people in place to oversee what is now a rebuild. They turned this into a rebuild. This didn't need to be a rebuild. Bucks fanatic in the house. He says, well, the Bucks and Todd made me dead inside, but at least I got your show. Happy holidays, Jake. Bucks fanatic, happy holidays to you. Sorry about your football team. I tweeted it, the Bucks fire Bowles. I guess he could be a DC candidate for Glenn. And both Rich Samini and Connor Hughes, who cover the Jets, responded to me and said, absolutely not. Hughes said that it ended terribly between Bowles and the Jets, so he'd never come back. I go, okay. It'd be nice if you put that out there when it actually happened in real time and not afterwards, but I digress. If that's true, great. I really don't want Todd Bowles as the DC anyway. Tyrone in the raffle for 2. I've been noticing for a while the rah-rah coach doesn't work anymore. I'm a 64-year-old manager. Working with the youth is different. You get in trouble for yelling. Let's get the nerd. Go Jets in 26. Yeah, how's Liam Cohen doing in Jacksonville? How's Ben Johnson doing with the Lions? You look around the league, the young offensive coach, that's the trend. And if you are going to hire defense, they need to have a great offensive coordinator, a la Vrabel in New England hiring McDaniels, a la McDonald in Seattle hiring Clint Kubiak. They've been a disaster this year, but last year when they were excellent, you look at Dan Quinn hiring Cliff Kingsbury. That's what you need. Ryan McCarthy is in the raffle for 1. Thank you, Ryan. Taylor says, Pats with a CEO coach and no-name players everywhere still win and play competitive, yet the Jets week after week, yet people think Glenn deserves another year after being the worst coach in the NFL is wild. You know, it's interesting, too, because Buffalo Jet fans been pounding this on his program, and he's right. Look at the team that New England put out there on the field last night. Their left tackle, Vidarian Lowe. Their right tackle, Morgan Moses. Jets have better tackles than the Patriots. They do. Look at their receivers. Diggs, who's 32 years old. Keyshawn Boutte, Matt Collins. Jets have better wide receivers now. They do. Patriots have better running backs with Henderson and Stevenson, but okay, so. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, like, okay, they have a better tight end. It's all coaching, man. You think the Patriots regret taking Drake May when they weren't ready for Drake May. They couldn't take a quarterback. You need a quarterback, and then you also need a coach. Right now, the Jets don't have either. That's what's so concerning. But, like, there's no perfect situation for the roster for the quarterback. We romanticize this. Build the roster, then get the quarterback. No, man. Do what's in the best interest of your football team. A great quarterback can overcome some issues. It'd be tough for him to overcome horrific coaching, though. See Sam Darnold. And that's the problem here. We could get the quarterback right. We might not know. That's what concerns me now going forward. Connor Long in the house. 2 Goats. Sabo, can you take the DC job and leave Port Jervis? We promised we could hold down the fort at JetX in your honor. Honestly, Robby Sabo would have done a better job coordinating the Jet defense than Steve Wilkes. Leany in the house. The great Leany in North Carolina. We talk this way every season. The only thing that changes is the coach's name. Lather, rinse, repeat, ugh. I feel your pain, Leany. Again, it's not that the Jets are losing, but I'm not going to go down not being honest about how I feel about this team. And people can disagree. That's fine. How they're losing is not acceptable. It shows me that they are poorly coached. And again, this will not change even with all the cap space and the draft capital. We have seen this before. We've been in this exact spot. What I'm trying to do is just warn people about history about to repeat itself, because I don't think this owner is going to make a change. Ryan McCarthy with an Asmaniac super chat. The last 5 Super Bowl winning coaches, Arians, McVay, Reed twice, Sirianni, all former offensive assistants. It's where the league's going. And again, you could hire a defensive coach. My preference of last hiring cycle was Brian Flores. Look what that defense did the dart, by the way. But that was because they didn't interview Mike McCarthy. We didn't even interview the top offensive candidates. Now people will say, oh, they wouldn't have interviewed with the Jets. Well, don't you got to try? Don't you got to interview? Even like, honestly, they should have hired McCown, if you think about it. He would have been better for this situation than Glenn at this point, but what does it matter? Flores was my choice because I value experience. I don't think this is a job for a first-timer. McCarthy was my ultimate preference. They didn't even talk to the guy. The Rooster says, asking Aaron Glenn to be the most important voice of the organization and a head coach for the first time is the worst in a history of horrible decisions by Ambassador Johnson. I think that's also why I get so frustrated too, right? Not only is Aaron Glenn a first-time head coach, he has never been a GM before, so why does he have final say on all personnel? Why wouldn't we hire an experienced general manager to work with Aaron Glenn? I had Thomas Dimitroff on this show. He said Aaron Glenn would have been one of his candidates he would have loved to interview to be a head coach. Let's hire those two together. And look, honestly, Muji, I think, has actually done a decent job overall. We'll find out as this offseason unfolds here. But again, the lack of experience in the Jets building, asking guys to learn on the job. Isn't Woody sick of guys making millions of dollars on his dime to learn? Ralphie says, good weekend for us tank-wise. Tennessee wins, Dallas loses. Moore and Simpson look good. Now we need a San Francisco win tonight. Don't stress, Jake. We aren't winning any games with Cook at quarterback. Probably not. Probably not. I agree. Pork writes in with a gifted membership. Pork of the morning is in the raffle for one. Thank you. The big fella checks in. We can't hope for our team to lose, and then when they do, be upset how we lost. To me, yesterday, it looked like players said, let's show up in the first half, then complete the tank. Players understood the mission. See, big fella, if you were right, I would get it, but that's not what happened. You think the Jet players give a flying shit, respectfully, about the draft picks? 50% of this roster won't be here next year. They don't care. Their lives are on the line. They're putting their bodies on display. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for their livelihood. They're not losing on purpose. It looks like that because this team is that poorly coached and there's a talent issue. You combine the two and you set records in Jet history for just incompetence. Again, this is the worst 3-game stretch the Jets have had since 2002. Negative 75 point differential. What we're seeing is not normal. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. We know they suck. We know the talent's bad. What we're seeing is not normal. It's not. And anyone trying to tell you, oh, it's tank mode. That's what they're trying to do. It's not. It's not how this works. Taylor says, damn, I want what Renzo's on. Bang says, LaFleur is a former Vrabel coach. Pay me my money, Renzo. I mean, Renzo lost the argument when he tried to belittle Mike Vrabel. And he also tried to say, how many coaches has Mike Tomlin hired? Really? You mean the guy for 19 years that's never had a losing year? I get it. He hasn't won a playoff game in a while. We would kill to be the Steelers. Kill. Jetaholic says, it's not. I hit a nice 2-leg tutty parlay with a former Jet, Ty Johnson and Jalen Wright. Thanks for being our Jets therapist. Embrace the tank, I guess. Go Jets. Get Mendoza or more. Merry Xmas. Again, even if they get one of those guys, what confidence do you have that they're going to be put in a position to succeed? That's what I think is alarming. More of your outstanding calls right now. Before we bring this next guy on, though, we must take a trip down memory lane.
Let's go. Like we're gonna go to the playoffs, and if we don't, then I'll cut my hair. But
wait a second. If the Jets don't make the playoffs, you'll cut your hair?
Yeah, I'll cut it all off. I'll just one by one chop it off. That's
Buzz
how
cut?
confident I am. Yeah, sure. If the Jets don't, that's a deal. I'll be man of my word. I'll stick to it. That's how confident I am in this team, man. We're going to the
Jets
playoffs.
don't make the playoffs. You'll buzz cut your hair off.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go bald, but I'll buzz cut it. There's a difference between bald and buzz cut, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, there is. I'm just saying, like that is a wild bet. But Boomtown is the official statistician and record keeper of the show. Bookmark it, July 31st, 2025. 10:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. JJ on the record. Hey now, can you believe it? He said it. He absolutely said it. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is the man himself.
Here comes JJ. He's here to talk about the Jets. He's putting Justin Fields in the Football Hall of Fame. Here comes JJ. You know he's Gary's biggest fan. He loves cornrows and the crappy Wi-Fi. Here comes JJ. He loves the sound of his voice. Here comes JJ. Most of these calls in bad, so let's get it over with.
Yeah, what's going on, my friends?
When are you shaving your head?
Yeah, okay. Believe that if you want to.
You said it.
So what? I'm not a man of my word. I don't care.
Wow, you have no integrity.
I probably don't. But yeah, you guys should have known this already. I'm a terrible caller who says things and doesn't own up to them, right?
Wow, you're not going to – you got to do something to at least try and do some sort of make good. You blatantly lied to the Asmaniac community with this, JJ. We can't let this slide.
Yeah, well, I didn't lie. You know who lied? Aaron Glenn. He lied to me. He said he was going to fix the penalties. He said he was going to he's here to win now, and he lied. So he said it's all about coaching, and he was going to make Will McDonald better, and he lied. He lied. So be mad at him. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at him. That's number one. Anyways, I'm in a beautiful beautiful city. Look at this beautifulness. Can you see? Look at these nice houses. Oh my God. Well, can you see them? Nice, right? It's New Orleans, man. Come on. You don't know. You can't recognize New Orleans?
I'm kind of out on today's call from you, JJ, after you just said that you won't honor a bet. You just have no regard for the audience.
I do have regards for the audience, but at the time when
I'm your word, I thought you were a man of integrity.
I am a man of my word. I am a man of integrity. But here's the difference between me and the rest of the fans on the show. I'm not gonna do something to affect my life significantly as such when the team sold me a dream and they weren't honest. I mean, it wasn't an honest bet from the beginning. I was told the penalties would be fixed. I was told that the play would be better, and none of those things happened. So whose fault is that? Mine or the team's?
I think it's your fault for making a bet and then reneging on your bet.
All right, you're right. I'll cut my hair. Fine. I'll cut it. I'll cut my beard. I'll trim it down a little bit, and then I'll shave the sides. No, I'll cut the beard. I'll shave the sides, and we'll go from there. But before I hang up, I do, because you guys probably don't want to hear from me anymore because I'm not a man of my word. I do want to say, though, I was at the game yesterday, and it was kind of weird because the Saints fans were, like, having a great time. The stadium was about maybe, 75-80% filled. The Saints fans were going crazy. They were rooting for the team hard as if it was, like, a meaningful game. And I'm like, I mean, what the heck is going on? Aren't these guys 4-12? They even played this stupid New York versus New Orleans comparison thing where it was like New York is known for the Staten Island Ferry and everybody booed. And then they were like, we're known for the Steamboat and everybody cheered. And then they go, New York is known for its famous January tradition, missing the playoffs 15 straight. Boo. New Orleans, we're known for the Sugar Bowl or whatever. And then they just kept going. And then they played the butt fumble. Like, they were taking shots at us. And I'm like, you guys suck too. But, I mean, the fans were loving it. And I don't know, man. You would have thought that, this game meant something to them. I guess it does. I mean, I guess winning football games to certain fan bases, they don't care what their record is. They just want to win. They want to see their team win. But I left yesterday thinking two things. Number one, it really doesn't matter about who your quarterback is if you have the right coach. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. I mean, you can have there's guys who make their players better, and then there's quarterbacks who make their coaches better. And I think I would rather have a coach that makes the players better than the flip side of that. We need to have the right head coach because you can plug and play guys in the right system. Like, for example, Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy, and he was a 7th round pick. But you look around the league, and the best coaches are the ones who are winning. You see Ben Johnson go in there and he turned things around in 1 year. You see Trevor Lawrence was cost 2 head coaches their jobs, and now look at Trevor Lawrence. He's going for 3 touchdowns, and he looks like a whole new guy. So it's more about coaching than it is about the quarterback. You can have the right quarterback, but if you have the wrong coach, you're not going to win. So I think we really got to figure out this coach thing. And I bought into Aaron Glenn. I thought he was going to be a much better coach than he actually was, and he ended up sucking. So at the end of the day, there's so many holes on this team that I'm just hoping that we end up with like the 2nd or 3rd overall pick so that we don't have to trade up, because there's so many holes that need to be fixed. And, one football player at quarterback is not going to change it, especially like if he's just an average guy. If you look at the Chicago Bears, that's the best example. Look at the Chicago Bears last year versus the Chicago Bears this year. And what's the significant difference? They got the right head coach. So even with the right quarterback, it made no difference without the right head coach. So,
speaking of holes, now look what you've done, JJ. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it. I thought JJ was a man of integrity. But what he just pulled with that call, with no remorse, trying to blame the Jets for his awful bet that this team was going to make the playoffs, that Justin Fields was going to be in the Jets' Ring of Honor. That's some weak stuff from a man that I thought, despite him always having terrible takes, he was a man of integrity. I was wrong. Hand up. I thought JJ was better. Sam, super chat. Glenn, very bad. When are we going to realize this? Clint Kubiak. I'd hire Clint Kubiak tomorrow if it meant we didn't have Aaron Glenn for another year. Again, I want to be wrong. I can't fake it, right? I smell what's happening here. And honestly, I gave the Jets too much credit. I smelled 4 wins, and I should have stuck with that. I moved it up to 6 because I wanted to believe, and I'm typically positive, and I bought into the bullshit Glenn was selling us all summer. Should have stuck at 4. They're not going to get 4. They're going to finish with 3. Again, for those saying, Jake, what do you expect they're tanking? Look at how these games are playing out. Look at what happened at the beginning of the year. Look at the mistakes that Aaron Glenn's already had made, right? And tell me why we should have faith that he is going to be able to turn this around, other than, well, he was a former Jet. Jet Lee says, JJ just pulled the, if my wife was a man, she'd be my uncle. Tough, man. I can't defend JJ. What he just did there was disgraceful. More of your calls. Southern Jet is on the line. Home stretch of the show here, folks. I'm on the radio today from 1 to 3. I'll be back this afternoon in the 4:30-ish range Eastern time, but I'm filling in for Michael K today, so I'll talk plenty of Jets on the show. Trust me, but that's why we started earlier today and why we got to end our first show a little shorter than we normally would. Let's say hello to Southern Jet, who's next on the show today. Hello, Jet. Hello, Rich.
Hey, Jay. 2 points. One is I don't know why anybody's surprised. We saw this. Those who've approached it from a cerebral point of view, when he was hired, we had just gone through people who had never been head coaches before. He wasn't that great as a DC. I mean, many of us were rumbling at the time it was a bad hire.
Yep.
So it's an Occam's razor type of scenario. He's just, that's the way it was. And Robby, I was trying to talk to him, but Robby made the great point. The 2 points he made was Banjo doing what he's doing on this roster, because the game has changed, and obviously Banjo gets that. But the game has changed. And my point is, yeah, okay, I forget that guy who was shitting on you, his name, but the getting the players to play for you. Okay, I was a software future strategist for IBM for 46 years. And, I would redo what I had on my plate every day. I would come in and rewrite it because what happened? Things changed the day before or that day or in the industry, as far as future strategy. So we're playing, say you're playing for your coach is important, but it is a different level of importance now. In the old days, like Robby was saying, the game was more of a chess game, as a checkers game. It was checkers. It was kind of vanilla and hard-nosed, gray sweatpants, high tops, bike athletic supporter type guys, that would, kick the shit out of you. That came in very handy, and that was very high, and playing for your coach became high. But now we're playing chess. And when you play chess, it's the strategy, it's the schematics, it's the in-game adjustments, it's understanding, it's experience, proving yourself. And so playing for your coach is important, but I guarantee you it has dropped down a few notches in the importance of the overall success of the team. And this is like, and you just so correctly said, is what Woody is not getting. That 33rd team, look who it's made up of. It's all the old time guys. It's all the old gray sweatpant, high top guys. It's not littered with the young way the league is being played now. And so I think people just have to understand that it's systemic problem. It's not a one guy here, one guy. It's a systemic problem. It's not the acknowledgement that the game has changed and the paradigm of the importance level you put to certain characteristics in a person has drastically changed. And that's what I wanted to say. I know it was boring to most people because it was kind of an X and O's call, but that's what I think is actually the problem, and people are missing that.
Yeah. We have a head coach who's not an expert on either side of the ball. He doesn't want to try and be, so we hired a guy who's been fired after 1 year in his last 5 stops.
And
we have
I
an
don't
offensive
care if
coordinator
players
who's never
for him.
right, and we hired an offensive coordinator who's never designed an offense for the handpicked quarterback the head coach brought in because he said he was tough to game plan against, and he's never played worse. He got the special teams coordinator hire right. Great, that's not enough. They're historically bad, Rich. This is as poorly coached of an operation as we've seen, and we've seen a lot of bad ones.
Hey, Jake, has Jordan Palmer ever said he wanted to coach in the NFL?
I remember a couple of years ago, I heard him do an interview saying that teams have approached him, but he hasn't found the right fit. I think he likes kind of doing what he does, where he gets to work.
Oh, I get it. He must be making
guys.
a lot of money, but
yeah, money talks.
Money talks, like you said. Yeah, I mean, at a minimum, bring him in as an advisor or something.
Honestly, people might laugh. What's Brian Dable up to? He didn't get one of these college jobs. Bring him in. See if he would see if you could bring him in just to work with the quarterback. I mean, look, I don't think Dable is nearly like as great of this offensive genius as some have said, but fact of the matter is Jackson Dart has not played well since they got rid of Dable. Maybe Brian Dable could help oversee the development of the quarterback, or at least pick his brain on who he likes in the draft here, because he got it clearly right with Dart, or at least saw something in Dart that allowed the young quarterback to play well as a rookie.
And as you know, I was, my favorite quarterback and who I said would be the next Brady type, 15-year all-pro guy was Drake May. I predicted that from day one because I saw him play live every day. But, he has made a huge jump because of Vrabel and the staff and Josh McDaniels. I mean, he had a decent rookie year. He showed improvements, but come on. It's obvious.
Well said, Rich. Good call. I'm glad you're making them again. I just saw this from Michael Nadia. I want to highlight it. So this was a chart that we showed on the show when the Jets were 0-6. 4 of 17 coaches since 1980 who started 0-6 eventually led that team to the playoffs. And I think what's important to note here is Dan Campbell and Kyle Shanahan are on this list. But as Michael Nadia brings up, those coaches finished year one with the team playing good football, right? Remember, Glenn, when the Jets were 0-6, referenced how they were off to a similar start in Detroit and they finished that year playing better? He can't do that now because the Jets have actually never played this bad all year. It's getting worse, not better. Shanahan, after a bad start, also finished the year strong. So you look at this list here, we're banking on a historic outlier for Aaron Glenn to actually turn things around and be a good coach. Even Jimmy Johnson, what changed with him? Well, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Is Aaron Glenn going to have a Hall of Fame quarterback next year? Zach Taylor, you know what's changed with him? He has a Hall of Fame quarterback in Joe Burrow. So again, look at this list here. This is what's up against Aaron Glenn now. And he didn't even start 0-6. He started 0-7 too, by the way. Again, I don't enjoy saying this, but I got to keep it real with the audience. I don't see how this works out well for us as Jet fans. How does this get better? What evidence do we have to support such a thing? Glenn talks about laying a foundation. There's been no foundation laid because you already fired Steve Wilkes. You're going to have a brand new defensive coordinator coming in trying to lay his foundation. What foundation have you laid? We have no idea about the offensive coordinator. We have a good special teams coordinator. Great. I'm not trying to minimize Chris Banjo, but when the only thing I hear from people saying, oh, well, the Jets have a good special teams, if that's all we could say, that's not enough. We're in a bad spot, people. Oregon Jets in the raffle for 2. All right, a couple calls left, then we'll wrap. We'll be back this afternoon. Frankie V will join me on the second show today. Just confirmed it with him. Fans, please DM Woody demanding change. Do something. It's our only chance. Dante. Congrats to your Ducks on the playoff win, Oregon. But I'm a little upset with your Ducks. They didn't even cover. They're dominating JMU, and then they took their foot off the gas, and JMU scored some points late, and they backdoored. So I lost that bet. But Dante Moore did look good, so we want him to declare, so the Jets have options. Alex in D.C., and then PBM will close us out on the first show today. What's up, Alex?
Morning or afternoon or still morning. Forgive me. Couple things, but it's all going to be I guess Aaron Glenn related. I happen to disagree with you on the being so just stern on the fact that you think he's not going to get fired. I think there's a very good chance he could get fired. There's nothing. Here's the thing, right? We're in a situation where, again, we're drafting another quarterback. Woo. We can't fail. We cannot have a Sam Darnold or a Zach Wilson situation. And the one thing that's actually a leverage for us, because we're the Jets and we always have to pay the Jet tax, whether it's with a coach or with free agents or whatever. Like last year, we had coaches come out and say, "Hey, we're not interested. I'm not interested. Don't even mess with me." Like Liam Cohen and a guy in Chicago and all that. But what we have this year is we have a bevy of picks and potentially a coach that can come in and pick his quarterback. So there's going to be no better time to be in the free agent head coach market than this offseason. And like you say every show, there's nothing that we can lean our hat on as fans or Woody Johnson as ownership to put the need to succeed and develop whoever we draft. There's nothing we can hold our hat on to say Aaron Glenn can get this done. And you don't want to be in a situation where you draft a guy and then now you draft a guy, now you're firing the staff year one, and it's just bad. So now is the time. So I think there's a very good chance that he gets fired, and I'm at the point now where firing him is the move. My only concern is 2 months ago I called and I'm like, I just want the Jets to get one of the first round quarterbacks. I really don't care who, this, and that. The thinking at that time was there's going to be 3 or 4 first round quarterbacks. There's a chance at this point where we stand today where there's only one, Jake. And that's my concern, is that we could be picking third and there's not going to be a quarterback. You got Mendoza. If Simpson and Oregon don't come out, the next crop is Nussmeier and Penn State kid and all these guys. They're not first round picks.
Nope.
So I'm very nervous about that. So I'm going to be tankathon-ing for the next 2 weeks. But
we got to get lucky. We need the Giants and Raiders to each win one more game if we're looking at it. Which, look, I think the Raiders could definitely win one of their final 2. They play the Giants.
Yes.
They also play the Chiefs with their third string quarterback.
Yes.
The Giants play the Cowboys, who are playing for nothing. So maybe we really need the Browns to win another game. Maybe they can win against the Bengals in Week 18. I guess they could beat Pittsburgh this week, especially if Metcalf is suspended. At least the Browns have a good defense.
Yeah.
Shador's been okay. Again, what really would help the Jets is Dante Moore declaring. I think he will. I just think that the Jets, even if they get the quarterback, Alex, to your point, it's hard to feel truly confident that it's going to make a huge difference given the just fear I have moving forward with this head coach.
Yeah, I'm out on Glenn. I've seen enough. I cannot go through another Zach Wilson situation. I just can't. I can't. It'll ruin me. It will literally put me to my grave damn near. So I need to have somebody that can develop quarterbacks, and we can end this nonsense of never having our guy at quarterback. I have to watch the Patriots go through 20 years of Tom Brady, suck for 2, and then get right back and find their guy, or a Packers, or all these teams that they just find quarterbacks like they just dropped off in their mailbox every morning. But we can't get a guy. Whoever we get this year or next year potentially has to be our 10, 15-year guy, period. And to put that in the hands of this coaching staff would be you might as well put a gun to your head. I mean, it's not going to happen. So that's my thing. Another thing is pretty much like that Atlanta. I know we were like, it was some people were like, oh, we want to win and want to win. Man, that Atlanta game, I think, is going to come back to really screw us, man. I feel like if that muffed punt never happened, we lose that game, and now we have 2 wins, and we'd be looking a lot better. And now we got to pray for a million. Like yesterday, I'm watching these games, and I'm like, yo, are we having a rare chance of luck? Like the Browns were in it, the Giants, the Titans won. I'm like, what is like? I thought all of them were going to win, or at least had a chance to, but it didn't work out that way. Only the Titans. But like you said, Giants. I guess we're rooting for the Raiders this week, right?
Yep, and then the Giants to beat the Cowboys the following
next week. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it closes out. I'm praying that those 3 come out, because if those 3 come out, Simpson, Moore, Mendoza, I'm good with any one of them. I'm not gonna, I want that. Obviously, I think Mendoza's the guy because he's the biggest and stuff like that. But I'm good with any one of them. So hopefully all 3 do come out. I think we'll be fine if that happens. But if not, I don't know what we do. I don't know what we do. Yeah, I don't have a clue, because if we're picking third, and we don't, if somebody trades up again, I mean, obviously we'd have to trade up, but that's not the goal, man. I don't want to freaking trade up. I mean, I will. I'm not saying not to.
Yeah,
but
we got to see who comes out. I do think there'll be more than one option. We got to see which teams are in front of the Jets, if there are teams in front of the Jets that also need quarterbacks. Look, if they got to trade to get their guy, they're going to do it. So we have to just hope that whoever they pick is strong enough to overcome this environment, which is not it. Which
to create a new environment. Got to create a new one.
Yeah, to be kind, it's not. It's hard to feel confident in this environment, even though I'd be the first to tell you I do like some of the pieces on the O-line. I like Garrett. I like some of the complimentary receivers. But again, it all starts with the head coach. And right now I see a team that is just not what a modern 2025 team should look like. I think from a schematic standpoint, we are just consistently outcoached week in, week out. It's one thing to be, undermanned from a talent standpoint, but what we're seeing is this team really just be fundamentally outcoached in most weeks this year. They've been blown out in half their games plus now. It's alarming, man. Again, Adam Gase, Rich Kotitie, Aaron Glenn. They will be the only coaches in Jet history to lose 14 or more games in a single season. Think about that.
I still think that I heard you say this is the worst. This might be the worst team. I still think one of those Gase years. I can't remember which one. I think that was the worst.
Well, the
worst
2020 team I think was worse from like a roster standpoint and how they played.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
What I'm saying is like it just pound for pound. Like this team shouldn't be this bad. Like they're now pivoting to the rebuild. They traded Sauce. They traded Quinnen. They only did that because they started 0-7. This head coach came in and said we're here to win now. And now he's going to pretend like we knew this would take a long time. No, you didn't. You turned it into a rebuild because you misevaluated your own roster in the first place. You brought back a lot of these guys that we knew couldn't play. Tony Adams, Isaiah Oliver, Michael Clemens. They're the ones who paid Sherwood. They're the ones who made these decisions and said, well, we're going to clean the penalty problem up. We had the lead in the fourth quarter 7 times a year ago. It's coaching, man.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of checks he can't cash, man. Yep.
He said the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the head coach. He referenced the blown leads a year ago and said, I'm Aaron Glenn. I'll fix it because the last 4 minutes belong to the head coach. He's a bad coach because he tried to cite that as a reason why they'd be better this year, that they were good enough to have the lead in the fourth. They just couldn't hold the lead. We can't even get a lead in the fourth because we're infinitely worse, not just from a roster standpoint, but also from a coaching standpoint. And I didn't think we could do worse than Salah, Olbrich and company, but we have.
Yeah, that's my call, man. I'm with you. Hopefully, I'm praying that in 2 weeks he's fired. I'm really hoping for it.
I don't think he's going to be. Unfortunately, I don't think Woody will admit a mistake.
I think there's a chance that
maybe if they get destroyed these next two, which is likely, I guess. But I mean, they're starting. If Glenn was worried about his job, don't you think he would play Tyrod this week?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. But I'm gonna end with this. My man in New Orleans, man, you got to cut your hair, dude, because
JJ,
you got to cut your hair because nobody you threw that out there. Nobody brought that to you. You said you'll do that. Nobody. Jake didn't say, "Hey, how about you cut your hair?" If they make no, you volunteered yourself for that. So you gotta be a man of your word, dog. But appreciate you guys. Anybody out there still rooting for wins, please don't, because we don't need that. Stop doing that, guys. Let's root for losses. Let's root for whatever Jake said, a Ravens win, and a Raiders win and a Giants loss and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a thon it. Let's hope for a few things, and let's hope we get a quarterback this year. And this is let's hope that this is the end of the bottom, right? So love you guys. Peace.
Alex, great call.
Jets, Jets.
That's how it's done. Well done. Well done. Couple super chats here. I got to run soon, though. Josh checks in. He's in the raffle for 5. Firing Glenn in my mind makes logical sense. A long time to have shown no progress by any metrics. By all logic, becomes fertile or fertile. Is it fruit? I always screw up the pronunciation of that word. When you consider the coaching options, who credible takes this job given ownership? I don't know, but I'm not going to sit here and say because we don't know who would take this job, we will not acknowledge that they got this hire wrong. Someone would take this job. Find that guy. You have $100 million in cap space and 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. Someone would be interested. But again, they're not going to fire the head coach. So Sam says, if you're firing Glenn, Muji has to go. What would be the reason for keeping anyone? Well, I think Muji has done okay in some aspects of this team. If you told me Glenn would leave, but we got to keep Muji, would you sign for that? If that was the only way, or it's they're both back. I'd rather try and get a new head coach because we're going to have a rookie quarterback. Bino checks in. Jacob, NY Giants have to lose out because any tie for Cleveland for the number one, any tiebreaker because of their strength of schedule. Yeah, you could argue that. I'm not convinced Cleveland's definitely going quarterback. There's so many machinations of things we should root for or shouldn't. I don't know, man. I've seen people say, hey, root for the Giants to lose out because of the strength of schedule stuff. It's really complicated. And I hate that we're in this position. It hurts. Cross drag in the house. I agree with Alex and DC's points. My only question to you, Jake, is who do we hire as a head coach if we fire Glenn? What are our options here? Again, I don't think Aaron Glenn will be fired. My first call will be to Mike McCarthy. We're about to have a rookie quarterback, get a guy who's developed one before, who could stabilize things. I compare Mike McCarthy to Tom Thibodeau with the New York Knicks, who put belt to ass to the Heat last night. Hell yeah. I don't want to do the coach search thing right now because I just think we're getting our hopes up. Mike Perez says, I'm disgusted by the show and what has become Glenn lying to us and now JJ. Disgusted. Look, JJ, you lost a lot of fans, man. You can't say what you said. I think people won't remember. Shout out to Ablab in the house. He's in the raffle for 10. Bang. Shout out to you, Ablab. Appreciate your support. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Gang, this team isn't just a QB away, clearly. If we get QB this year, it's going to replicate Sam Darnold's rookie year. don't be surprised if we save our picks and build a team. I think they could do both, though, Ablab. I understand your point. They are not just a quarterback away. That is obvious. But neither were several teams that still took the quarterback. I was in Houston when they took Stroud. Believe me, they were not just a quarterback away. Unfortunately, the Jets are also a head coach away, but we can't do anything about that until 2027 in all likelihood. But that wouldn't stop me from getting the quarterback. Again, do you think New England regrets taking Drake May, even though they fired Mayo after a year? If you believe one of these guys could be a franchise guy, you have to still take him. I don't want to trade all my picks for that guy. I get it. But I'm willing to trade a couple of them, and that's why losing is beneficial for the Jets. Because to go from 4-1, it's not that expensive. 3-1, even less expensive. The higher the Jets pick, the less expensive it will be. And again, you have 2 2s this year. You have 3 1s next year. You have the resources to move up a couple spots where it wouldn't hamstring you. And Ablab, to your point, they're not a quarterback away. Yes, the roster needs to be improved. The draft is after free agency. They have $100 million in cap space. So if Glenn is here, he no longer can use the excuse, we can't get our guys. I don't have my guys yet. Well, now you have $100 million to get, quote, your guys. But what defensive scheme are they running, right? What defensive players are they going to covet in free agency? Glenn's telling us they're laying a foundation. You have no foundation on defense. You already fired the coordinator who you handpicked. So we have a brand new defensive scheme coming in. What foundation was being laid there? He said he cleared up the penalty problem. They haven't. He said they get better as the year goes on. They haven't. Again, someone needs to tell me what this coach does well, why we should trust that he knows what he's doing. Him turning it around would be a historic outlier. Dan Campbell and Kyle Shanahan finished their first year trending in the right direction. I don't like banking on outliers. 4 of 17 coaches since 1980 who started 0-6 or worse eventually led their team to the playoffs. I'm very concerned about this football team, and I think any Jet fan with a brain is as well. One last call before we get out of here, because I'm on the radio today filling in for Michael K at 1 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, today's closer is...
Purple Belt Mike, he loves the dark night. He's got a green pool and he jumps right in. Maybe someday he'll get a brown belt, but for now he's just that Purple Belt Mike. Purple Belt Mike, it might be purple, but he can still kick your dirty ass.
Yo, just want to say, if you make a bet, just man up to it. Or if you're gonna make a statement, then make a statement and not a bet. Because if you don't have your word as a man, then what kind of man are you?
What do you have?
Come on, just honor your words, and don't just say stuff to say it. If you don't mean it, then don't bet it. Like, I think Julian Saint's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I'm not going to bet anything because I really don't know. But I really like him as a player, and I think he's going to be good. So there's a difference between making a bet and saying your opinion. So if your opinion is something, that's fine. But if you make a bet with everybody, then just own up to it. That's it. Secondly, got some breaking news for you. So my wife is allowing me to use the office now as my own office. So I got it all cleaned up.
Wow.
I'm going to be hanging up pictures. I got that first one that I put up here.
Breaking sports news on the Jake Asman Show.
The PBM office is happening,
Yeah.
folks.
So I got all kinds of stuff. I want to show, I know you got to leave, but I want to show a couple cool things. So this my brother gave to me, which this is Joe Willie Namath autograph. I'm going to put the football and the helmet that you got me on the wall, probably over here somewhere. And one of my other favorite items that I got, which I have a frame coming today. This is an Eminem autograph from his Kamikaze album. So some cool stuff coming. Gonna have it all hanged up. It's gonna look nice. And yeah, man, it's really it. I got no Jets takes. Just want to call in.
You got to get some of the Jets gear that you won in the raffle, though, framed somewhere.
I just said the football and the helmet you got me are gonna go on the wall with that photo. So I look at the thing that's there.
It's got to be more showcase, so just so we can see it every time you call in. It's got to be as clearly visible as anything else. I do love that as well.
So me and my wife put this together. I got a frame for this coming today. It's gonna go on the wall too. But it's hard for me to like hanging Jet stuff because they pissed me off so bad.
It's painful.
So
that's why the retire stuff is great.
Yeah,
you know,
I have like a Joe Willie Namath corner.
Got the shrine.
but I have a Aaron Glenn autographed jersey that's not coming up anytime soon.
Nope.
I do have the Corbett, so that probably will come up, but yeah. I do have this football too. I mean this helmet, which is pretty cool from last year.
That is sick.
But believe it or not, I have a football from that's autographed by Mike Williams and Greg the Leg. Not doing shit with that. Oh, terrible. But yeah, man. That's it, dude.
Mike, beautifully said. Now, I said you'd be the closer, but I got some good news for the people on the line. We have an exciting show-related announcement that I want to hit on. Yesterday, a new spin-off show in the Jake Asman Asmaniac cinematic universe was founded. Mad Max now has a brand new Jets YouTube program. And yesterday, his first guest on the show was somehow himself.
Mad Max Rules has entered the studio. Can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me? What's up? Oh man. Good job. Yo, can you
What the hell?
If Mad Max ain't yapping about Jets, that boy, he's jamming, he's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stop yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman. He got an orange wall.
Honestly, can you guys hear me?
Nope. Can't.
Jets played horrible yesterday, so let's talk about the game. So it was really embarrassment. The defense played good to me in the first half, but in the second half, it was just terrible, our defense. Honestly, I wouldn't want Aaron Glenn as my coach. You know, he's terrible. I wouldn't even CEO. I would not let Aaron Glenn be the CEO of anything. I wouldn't let him be CEO of Chuck Wagon's Cooking. I wouldn't even be a CEO of the Chuck Wagon. I wouldn't let him be CEO of Mr. Bonesy's Shoe Store. I wouldn't even let him be CEO of the Navigators. He's just a terrible head coach. I wouldn't let him be CEO of anything, honestly. He's horrible. I mean, I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be fired. I mean, Woody Johnson, but if John Harbaugh's on the market, we have to fire Aaron Glenn and hire John Harbaugh. If John Harbaugh is on the head coaching market, I would hire him in 2 seconds, honestly. What's your thoughts on that, Jake?
I would take him as well.
I would too, because he's shown success, and the Ravens are always in the playoffs every year. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in the last 15 years, so I really want a proven head coach to turn. And we have 5 first-round picks, so we can easily turn around the franchise with John Harbaugh as our head coach. I mean, do you think it's going to happen? Do you think Aaron Glenn's going to be fired? I mean, I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be fired because I know Woody Johnson likes to hug him every day.
I think, Mad Max, that you should have Aaron Glenn on your highly acclaimed new YouTube show. What do you think of that?
Yeah, because I was doing a little salsa dancing. I was doing my little YouTube show, and thank you to all the Asmaniacs who popped out on the chat yesterday. Thank you. It was so nice to get all the Asmaniac support in the chat. But I was just doing a salsa dance. I think me and Aaron Glenn could be going to the salsa dancing competition. Let's see who's number one.
Why don't you give us the Glenn dance as we wrap things up here?
Oh man, let's get. Guys, this is the Aaron Glenn dance, honestly. Can you guys, Jake, can you see me do the salsa dancing?
Oh, nope, can't see. I'm blind.
Let's see who's better at it, me or Aaron Glenn. Let's see who's better at it, Jake.
That's for the chat to decide. Mad Max, good luck with the show, all right?
Thank you.
Mad Max, I wish you all the success. You are truly one of one. One of one. Man, what a show. I'm going to be back this afternoon. If you want more of me, I'm going to open with the Jets. I'm in for Michael K today from 1 to 3 on ESPN New York. So tune in then. It will be on YouTube, so you can watch it from our studios. I'm about to head out of my apartment right now and head down to Soho so I could do the show from there. Before I go, though, I continue on. I want to say it all week. Happy holidays, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. But I also want to share with you a message from one of our own as we wrap up this first show today. A message from the Beast as we start to reflect back on 2025 and move forward towards 2026. I'll be back on YouTube this afternoon. I'm live on ESPN New York from 1 to 3. Talk to you guys then. Go Jets.
Well, good morning, everybody. 2025 was a very, very strange year. I exposed Bobby Beasley for what he really was. Destroyed 6 rings. I've won almost many fights on the Jake Asman show. I've already accomplished worldwide status. I've already become the #1 man in the world. And now we're going to go on into the future. 2026 will be a brand new beginning and a new era as we leave the past behind us and go to the present. And that means Bobby Beasley does not exist, or nor he will ever exist ever again. Let's go on with the future. Let's build, let's try, and let's keep on going. Because you have a right to try. That's all you can do. And be the best and do what you have to do to be the best. Make it and go for it. See you in the future.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.